Welcome everybody, my name is Ketchup, joined by Mustard. You're watching the PS4 Tournament's MK11 Open Series Invitational as we enter week 1 of November. First of all, thank you all so much for your patience. Apologies for the audio issues, but shout out to the team behind the scenes for doing everything they can to get it working. And I want to say again, thank you for your patience. But we're going to be good to go now and jump into our first set of matches. Mustard, the bracket's going to be really interesting because we have got some returning faces we haven't seen in a while. On the note of previous champions, we've had a fair amount of them actually. And in particular, I think some of those players being here today, like Mirko, for example, could open up for some interesting matchups indeed.
No, I think this is absolutely a great way to start month 6 of the Open Series. Yes, It has already somehow been over 5 months. And now we're going into week 1 of month 6 to find out who will continue to start November in style. As you can see, we do have a couple of new names. We have Psycho versus Nevek in a play we haven't seen. Dangos we haven't seen in a while in the online space versus Mercer. And Blood Eyes versus Mirko. And then the return of B-Boy versus Flet. And to be honest, I really think this is a strong bracket. It's a bracket full to the brim of potential Scorpion players. So I think we actually have the potential for maybe a Scorpion player in every set today.
That would be, I mean, that would certainly be something that, I mean, we haven't had Scorpion in a while, and it feels like we're kind of making up for it. Now, previous champions, while we get our first match loaded and good to go, we've had Arn Kratos definitely be the #1, but then underneath Arn Kratos, we have had a lot of Europe. So Asadamasa, Mirko, that pro Stunner. You know, Stunner, a player that currently is actually competitively retired, you know, personal reasons and all that. We wish him the best, but you won't be seeing him in the Open Series as far as I'm aware.
I feel like that is too strong of a word, you know? I feel like it's more that, and obviously, you know, not to put words in his mouth, but I feel like it's more just kind of like taking a break, you know what I mean?
He's taking a break. He is
taking your foot off the gas, you know, chilling out for a bit. If you want to return, you can, you know, and that's the beauty of it. There's always going to be events to come back to and tournaments to play in. You know, but I think this has been a really good representation of the Open Series, right? Arn Kratos at that deserved #1 spot, winning the lion's share of the prize pool week after week, and he's done a good job of himself to really build up some of that cash prize money. And that's the best thing about the prize pool, though, right? Is it's weekly. Every single week you're playing for this amount of money for top 4. So our competitive players that you see week in, week out, North America as well, you are playing for this money on a weekly basis. And if you can get in that top 4 every week, that is going to add up a lot sooner than you might think.
So, players at home, if you like Mortal Kombat, and especially, you know, with the looming release of MK Ultimate, you'll be able to compete in the Open Series all the way up until the end of the year. So you can go to compete.playstation.com. The competition center gives you the information for how to sign up, how to get involved. We've said it so many times, a PS4 and an internet connection is all you need to get started. And it is as simple as that. Now, we do have our first set of players in the lobby, and they're good to go. Mercer, a player that at this point kind of needs no introduction if you've seen Open Series, but if not, prominent Scorpion specialist, definitely best Scorpion in Russia, proven competitively, and he's had his fair share of success. Now, Dangus, a player that if you've never seen Open Series before, you probably won't recognize, or sorry, if you've seen only Open Series, is more correct, you might not recognize Dangus. Thing is, we do, because Dangus has been around for a few years, and not just MK11. I recognize Dangus from previous NRS titles as well. However, what we knew of Dangus in the early stage of Mortal Kombat was that he was kind of continuing his trend of being a Kotal Khan player. Did play Kotal Khan in MKX, but according to chat, and your Sleeping Lion, shouts to you for filling me in, playing a lot of Spawn, and I saw some people say they consider him to be the best Spawn they've seen. So I'm curious. I'm very, very curious to see what this Spawn's going to bring to the table. And Dangus wastes no time. The one.
So let's talk a bit about Spawn. So Spawn is a character that we haven't seen as much competitively as we thought we might. However, the crazy thing is, I feel like over the last month or so, especially the Open Series, we are beginning to see more and more of this character. And more specifically in the one variation, right? Like this has kind of very quickly become like the staple Spawn pick to go to. And the more we see players stick with it, the crazy damage we're seeing and the possibilities this character has. I feel like Spawn might be kind of slept on right now. I think the damage output and the range this character has, decent fireball, decent crushing blows. It's kind of hard to count this character out in a lot of situations. Decent movement. It's kind of hard to think about what he doesn't have at least a decent version of. Whether it's a good mid, good checking options, big punish potential. Oh, okay. No, spending that crushing blow immediately, wanting to get a life lead without any breaking opportunities, and tries to flawless block, but won't matter.
Now, the immediate stagger of that forward 3. Here we go. Commit. Wow. Do you wonder what that was? Expecting perhaps Mercer was going to try and flawless block or something similar. Can't say, I'm not too familiar with that setup, but either way, Mercer kicking things off quite strong, and the classic Scorpion, right? Stagger that forward 3, get the throw on deck, the crushing blow throw in both directions makes it much better. That is a confirm, and Mercer only just building it. Oh, he goes in for big damage. I wonder if that was maybe a fatal blow or something. Going in for the standing 2. Maybe it was a dash in down 2 that didn't come out. I don't know. All we know is that round 1 is going to go to Mercer.
But already, like, I wonder if that's like a step closer to, oh my goodness, the anti-air. I wonder if that's a step towards like optimal combos, because like so many Spawn players we've seen go for those 2-bar launchers. It's usually just like the launcher into the 2 hits into the launch again into just uppercut. We can see another opportunity here. Okay, keeping it 1 bar. Ooh, the chase down. Oh, the pickup. Oh no, misses it. That could have been unsafe for Mercer.
It is a bit of a tricky
wake up at 3.
The idea of going for these combos in the 1 is that if you do get that corner launch from the charging Hell Spawn right there, actually just over-committing to it and allowing Mercer a way back in, that's going to make the fatal blow absolutely possible. But he's looking for it, definitely expecting some kind of stagger, empty jump, grab, hang on a minute. This is a scary position now in the final closing moments of the round, the wake-up neutral jump. No flawless block on that forward 4. Maybe expecting something risky, but it will be the match there for Mercer. Going to be 1 game up. Now, I was going to say, and I didn't really get a chance to bring it up because so much happens so quickly, but I do like what I saw immediately. An element of playing the 1 Spawn is some players, they see those kind of launches in the corner where you do the 1 bar on the launch and then it feels like, your combo feels awkward and it misses. The secret to being able to do that is doing a backdash. Because what happens is when you do a launch in the corner and you amp it, if you backdash, Spawn moves himself in position where you can still continue to pick it up. Dangus did drop it. He didn't get the 2 into the Fatal Phantasm, but that is the tech. You go for the launch, you backdash, and then it perfectly puts you back in position, which we did see Dangus go for there.
I mean, we're definitely seeing Dangus do confirms and stuff that I'm not used to seeing. I feel like that definitely is just a sign of a player that definitely has put a decent amount of time in. And unfortunately, we're not seeing it always work. But the fact that he's going for them is showing, like, knowledge. You know what I mean? Because, like, the fact that he's even going for these combos means that he's aware of the most damage he can get, whether it's the best positioning, the best damage. When you're playing characters like the 1, you have to know as much as possible about your combo game. Because that is fundamentally one of the best reasons you have to picking this variation is the damage output. So if you're going to pick it for damage, why not squeeze every single shred of damage out you can?
He's already looking to enforce that forward 4. A lot of Spawn players, they use that forward 4 as a mid. That back 1 mid on its own, the single hit, really kind of risky to confirm that because back 1 on hit you can't hit confirm because it's a single button. Back 1-2 is really unsafe. Whereas that forward 4, if you're looking to catch a button, that forward 4 string is confirmable. That right there, you can see on block, goes into the projectile on hit. You know he's going to go for that charging Hell Spawn, but for the whiff punish, doesn't quite manage to get it. The Spawn's not going to be able to play much of his range game. He can't get a combo because he spent so much meter on the projectiles there, must have.
Oh, wake up buttons. Sees that Mercer missed time the meter, gets the breakaway. Now here's the thing about the 1 though, like you don't get a huge amount of unbreakable damage because you can always break before the launch. There's a bind game you can use along that. And the catch again, Dangus. These meaty down 1s. Now, I want to talk about this as well. That's not the first time I've seen that from Dangus. So a big problem that Spawn has is a considerable amount of his buttons have a lot of recovery to them. So if they, on hit or whiff, whatever, he's kind of stuck a lot longer than a lot of characters, but his down 1 doesn't have that problem. So if that is the button you're sticking out just to catch or whatever, it's also his fastest button you can definitely pick up. And what a conversion, Dangus. 370 damage for that.
However, that is going to be Mercer getting an immediate turnaround and counter hit. Those double cloak combos. quite tricky. And now, speaking of double float, drops the combo again! Oh, dearie me. Dangus. This is actually some costly drops because that's losing damage, but also the position. By the way, crushing blow throw is going to take the round. Ouch. But I think Dangus, he'll be kicking himself over that one. He gets the double float. All he had to do was standing 2 into restand and just missed the button. Maybe doing it a little bit too quickly. Maybe letting the momentum get to him in this position. And the jump three.
That is one of the biggest downsides to the one, though, right? Like, we talk to no end about how important the combo game is, but if you drop the restand, that's where you will absolutely die. You know, and that's not even a great way to punish it. You drop the combo, you are now fully punishable. Speaking of which, though, big pickup.
Oh, and he's ready for the capture. Mercer trying to challenge. The plus frames being enforced. The cancel. More of the pressure. And he can't amp. Never mind, the lovely throw tech goes in for the instant jump. I think he was expecting Mercer to jump right there. And more of the projectiles. Late delay. That has been a really good round from Dangus. Ooh. And he knows the butt press is going to come out in the back one. Now, definitely a shaky start in game 1 here, Mustard, but I actually think game 2, a lot more of him in his element, it looks like.
Well, I feel like we've spent this entire time talking about Dangus, like, specifically, and we can't forget that he is playing against Mercer. So, yes, he's going to have a little bit of a rough start, but it's not because he's just not playing well. He's up against Mercer, who is one of the most dominant players from Russia in the Open Series. You know, Mercer has been around, you know, we said at the start of the show that we've been going into the last 6th month now, and Mercer's been regularly competing in these from the start. So, you know, the best part of half a year, he has been competing. You know, every week he's entering the tournament on a Monday. He qualifies for the top 8. He's playing it on Tuesday. He's playing in the monthly finals. Like, Mercer is a seasoned veteran of the Open Series at this point, you know, and 6 months might not sound like a huge amount of time in the grand scheme of things, but if we're talking 6 months of weekly competition, for a lot of these players, it's 2 tournaments a week for 6 months of competition. That is a long time. That is going to add up if you're a player like Mercer. That is experience. That is confidence. That is composure. And when you're a player like Mercer, that is already as well an Open Series champion in his own right. He has won a weekly before. You know, coming in like you know, as Dangus, we know Dangus is a solid player from Russia, but we haven't seen him before. Mercer, on the other hand, we've seen him more than enough to know what he is capable of, and he is definitely a tough opponent for anyone coming into the Open Series.
There's the immediate cancel into grabs. Now Mercer, I can only assume he's played against Dangus a lot because I'm actually seeing Mercer go for a lot more grabs against Dangus than I normally do, and a lot of them are working out. So perhaps there is a kind of bit of a weakness here for Dangus where he struggles to take grabs. Counter hit, that by all means actually should come very close to being the round. So much damage on the end of that spear. The meaty down ones, I mean, look, there's not much Dangus can do there. He could block the down one and maybe get a poke or a challenge, but he's so weak. It's no surprise that Mercer was just going for a cheeky little ender, because who cares? He's got so much life. By the way, confirmed. No break from Mercer. Opts to keep the meter and the forward 2 into the restand. I love his pickups of that down one consistently. Like, he just knows. And by the way, another whiff punish. And we go for the double jump in. That's the combo he was looking for all along, and you can see why. 400 damage for a corner combo. It's so good. The damage of the one, man.
Okay, so it's not just the damage that I'm loving from Dangus, though. Like, he clearly has incredible, like, execution on these combos, but also the awareness, right? The restand into the dash down one because he knows Mercer is going to jump back. The down one, also the safest button he has to enforce the advantage. Because if it gets blocked, who cares? If Mercer does manage to squeeze away, it's a down one. He's not going to get away from it. He's playing it really safe. There we go. Now this right here, yeah, I love that. It's a lot. Yeah. No, but that's the thing. It's a lot lower damage than what we've seen, right? Like from that situation, we see a lot of spawns. They end in uppercut or whatever, and they get like high 400s. He's going for like low to mid 400s, but with a restand. So the opportunity to get more damage is even more, and keep that advantage going. Dangus, his absolute resource management, decision making has been so good. And Mercer in a big trouble here. No bar to cancel teleport. Oh, manages to find it anyway.
Now this is a tricky game to play, and he dashes in for the down one. Now, I gotta say, actually, what is one of Mercer's greatest strengths when we see him in Open Series? He is so hard to pin down on wake up because it almost seems like there is very much kind of like a mix-up that he enforces onto you when he's knocked down. He'll roll, he'll button press, he'll jump, he'll up 3, whatever. Whereas every time Dangus is landing a hit, he's ending it in that restand. And as you said, you sacrifice damage not going for the kind of down 2 ender combo that the one does. But you've got a restand. What does a restand do? Prevents your ability to wake up. Mercer not being able to wake up is quite a heavy hit, I think.
I mean, it's not just a Mercer thing. It's MK11. Like the wake up system of MK11 is one of the most difficult to deal with elements of the entire game. You know, every character in the game has so many options, and there are so many real options that that a number of kind of quote unquote fake options kind of work as well when you're so aware and not being ready for everything. You get the freestand, you ain't worrying about that, and you're not at all. And it's in fact to the point that it has forced Mercer off of Scorpion, and this is a big deal. To get Mercer off of Scorpion means that he is not confident in that matchup at all. It's a spring cleaning, no less, as well. Not even the Born Again. The spring cleaning.
Yeah, this is definitely what's a bit weird to me, because every time I've seen Mercer play Cetrion, he's actually picked the Born Again. So the spring cleaning is a bit of a first here for him in the Open Series. The forward 2-1 confirm. Oh no, here comes another tasty little knockdown, and this has been really solid so far. Clean jumping, no meter to confirm that charging Hellspawn, but he keeps the corner position. And wait a minute, there's no defensive bar for Mercer because he was forced to break, which means he can't far teleport. And it does look like Dangus was ready. He knows the teleport's coming, but with no defensive bar, she can only teleport right in front of him.
Oh, you see that movement? Get the EX fireball and then in your face with a couple of wave dashes. That was so crispy.
Dangus has always been a fan of those heavy-hitting, larger characters. And I've got to say, one of the MKX Kotal specialists and played Kotal before Spawn came out, has clearly made the transition to Spawn. But with this range game, massive whiff. Uh-oh.
Unfortunately for Mercer, that was just a straight-up did the wrong range of the Geyser. And that has put Dangus into, I'll say it, a swift match point. This has been a one-sided set. Mercer got that first game, but I mean, it looks like that was the closest Mercer was going to get to this.
Well, never say never. Seems to have a really tidy spring cleaning. I got to say, it's the first time I've seen him play this variation. Like I said, normally Born Again, but having to work his way in Cetrion. The projectile options, being able to really bait out those button presses, and that is where Cetrion will be able to get those full screen with punishes. It's not a lot of damage, but it will add up over time, as you can see. Mercer pretty much working on a flawless here, and that's a punish on the charging Hellspawn. Dangus thinks, why not? I'm weak. I may as well try and get something on deck here. Mercer's objective, stay out of reach of standing 3-4. You have to avoid that one string, because that leads to projectiles, to pushback, to chip, and on hit, full combos. Now, Mercer has to be very careful to avoid that jump distance situation.
He's got the defensive bar though. He can keep this distance as much as possible. That's the thing, Spawn, his forward movement is so good, like with his actual dash speed and whatnot, but the big problem he's got is contesting, right? The projectile is his best bet, but it's not going to be enough to win the game, and his buttons like this, a lot of recovery and a lot with punishability. And that's what he's going to have to be very careful for. There's a reason he's sticking out the standing 3. It is his best option at just contesting something in that range, speaking of which, there's the break. Oh, the whiff! No bar though. However, this is still match point for Dangus. Plus frames. Oh, Mercer, he's squirming.
And he's expecting him to challenge. That's why he did the plus frames into his own down 1. Mercer actually unlike him to not challenge there. But the patience to keep it. Minimal damage on that. But again, knockdown on full screen. This is Spawn at his weakest in this variation, I think. Against Cetrion, definitely. Now, match point still for Dangus. He only needs one solid touch, but the danger is that breaker exists.
It's that fatal blow I'm looking at. The fatal blow I'm seeing for Mercer.
I'm looking at fatal blow, and I'm looking at breakaway. Dangus.
Oh, hang on.
Wait! 2 projectiles. He knows the button press happens, and
with
that,
punish.
Just like that. The projectile used to bait out the barrier, and he gets exactly what he's looking for. And wow, Dangus. I think that's one hell of a debut to make on Open Series, isn't it?
I have to ask a question. Where has Dangus been?
I want to know where he's been.
Absolutely just clean as a whistle. I feel like going into today, like when I heard the comment in chat of, Dangus is going to show everyone that he's the best Spawn, the best Spawn that people have seen. Like, as someone that has only really seen a lot of Spawn nowadays via Open Series and community events where we're seeing players like, for example, K7 Show Off in North America, I would say was like the most solid Spawn that I had seen. So whenever I hear that kind of quote of best Spawn, I kind of think that, there's that certain level of hesitation where I'm like, well, okay, we'll see about that. But Dango's definitely showing that he is incredible with his character. That was clean execution, that was decision making. And the big thing for me, safety. A lot of what Dangus does with his character doesn't put him in harm's way, but with such an amazing payout. Really plays around the restand, really plays around picking up wayward hits and conversions, which is, to be honest, one of the hardest things to do with Spawn because of his recovery, but because of the buttons he chooses to use, makes it look like something the character doesn't struggle at. That was a really impressive showing from Dangus, and I think that this Spawn could open some eyes the more we see it today. I'm very excited to see him in round 2 later on.
There's absolutely an opportunity, I think, to really make a bit of a splash and maybe even upset, because there are some players, like a Spawn of that caliber. I look at some of the players that are in this bracket and I can see Dangus getting far, and I can only assume surely Dangus just hasn't been entering these, because a Spawn of that caliber and the talent that he's able to show that he still has. I know Dangus is a prominent streamer. He still streams this game often. I think you can catch him on Twitch, I believe. But
no, you know what? I'm going to have like a big conspiracy, theory here. I actually,
go on,
if you look at
lay it on me.
His player profile is default background, default icon, and his player level is only like level 20 something, which isn't that many games played. I wonder, because I know Dangus is usually a player that plays on PC a lot, so I wonder if he has got.
So maybe he's starting to specifically enter.
Yeah, because I know there are players that have done that. They normally played on other systems, and they got a PS4 specifically to play an open series, which definitely is going to pay for itself if you get top 4 a couple of weeks, or you win one of the weeks. You'll kind of get close to kind of easily being worth it there and then. Especially if you're that kind of top level player. Like I'm really impressed with what I've seen. I haven't seen Dangus play in so long, but no, really looking like he is still in shape in the game and doing all right. And that Spawn, we're seeing more and more of this character, and I for one am happy to see it, because Spawn is one of the biggest crowd pleasers in this game, in my opinion.
Oh, without question. I never get tired of seeing Spawn, because for the longest time, as we go in later and later and later to the year, we do start to see a lot more sort of Spawn getting picked in a competitive setting, which I do love, because when Spawn was out, it kind of felt like no one was really using him, and then there are people in the community saying like, I don't think he's that good, and this and that and this and that, and kind of slowly but surely he is kind of starting to climb those community ranks, and you start to see a lot more players these days thinking like, hey, I think Spawn's pretty decent now. You look at the damage, look at the buttons, you look at the weaknesses, but some of Spawn's weaknesses, I think it comes down to how the player puts themselves in that position. He has a lot of recovery. Just stop whiffing. Like, if you want, make sure you're always in a position to get the buttons on block or hit, at least the one. You've got the confirms and the combos, all the other variations. If you do look at those key buttons that the one gets massive damage from, other variations won't quite get the same reward. And that charging Hell Spawn alone, and remember that replaces the armor too, the armor break. So that, above anything, is interesting. And now we're going into our next match. We get to see Nivek versus Psycho. Psycho, a player that I admit I've not seen before. Nivek, we're talking about old school faces. Nivek's been around in the competitive Mortal Kombat scene for about 10 years. I remember our first ever major event, Super versus Battle in the UK. Nivek was there. He was entering more than just Mortal Kombat, because he's always been a multi-fighting game specialist, but he was representing the Greek crew. They all traveled together. They were all practicing MK9, and they were a bunch of great guys. And that was our first introduction to Nivek. Like, it has to be about 10 years ago, maybe 9.
Almost. Not quite 10 years, but we're getting close. We've been talking today about players we haven't seen in a while. Is there a better example of that than Nivek? Nivek is a player that, if I'm being completely honest, has definitely been a bit of a roller coaster in MK11. I think his highs in the game have been staggering. Like, we have to remember, he is not the success that we have seen week after week, but he is a world finalist. Nivek was a player that, was doing okay in the game, like by his standards, not so good. But that's because his standards are normally shockingly high. He is the most successful fighting game player in Greece. He is the proven, I would say, #1 fighting game player from Greece as a whole, in terms of just how much success he's had over the years in so many different games. However, even though he hasn't won as many tournaments as he might do, hasn't got as many top 8s as he might do, he still made it to Final Combat. He still won the Intercontinental Finals by defeating Foxy in the Grand Finals in like a 6-0 fashion. Like, Nivek
it wasn't
is a
just
player.
Foxy in that tournament as well. Like, we have to recap and
he
talk
beat
about
everybody.
Nivek's journey. Nivek went into the Intercontinental Combat top 8 as, I think, with all due respect, with how things were currently going at the time, a player that I think we definitely least expected to win it all.
I mean,
because
Nivek went into that finals losing a much smaller event in Vienna the week before.
Exactly. So let's look at we have to look at those players that were in that tournament, right? Do Basic, Shark Teeth, Waz, Video Games Show, VGY, Foxy Grandpa. These players are absolutely insanely talented, right? And Nivek beats all of them. Nivek is the winner of that tournament, secures himself into final combat at the last minute. And that's why you can never count him out. Even if he's been inconsistent, even if he's not quite had the same level of success that he once had, Nivek is still one of the greatest fighting game players that we've seen in this part of the world for a long time, because it is his tournament clutch and his ability to just rock up when he needs to and get the job done against the best players is just an insane feat for him. And like you said, I haven't seen him for a while, so excited to see what he brings to the table here. Psycho, a player that I believe uses Scorpion, so one of our potential Scorpions. I know you mentioned we might even see Scorpion at the start of every game, but
I think there is a good chance we might see Scorpion in every single set today. We have like the potential for like 5 Scorpion players, I think, but even then, like, Psycho is a player that I haven't really seen in competitive as much, but I have seen him in like general online gameplay. I've seen him play a lot of very aggressive characters, the Scorpion, Nightwolf, Kung Lao. Like, I don't know how much of like what necessarily his main is, or kind of like which characters he will focus on in kind of like if he does have a team, like we've seen a lot of players do. But one thing that all the characters I've seen him play have together is they're very aggressive, right? They're very in your face. They're very rush down focused. But he's got Cetrion as his like character player card, so who knows? I think right now the world is our oyster. Nivek, however, has been a player that has played pretty much only Jackie for a long time now, but I know he was heavily interested in Fujin when Fujin first came out, but I don't know if he stuck with him for very long. But it's been a long time since we've seen Nivek play, so I do wonder if he's worked on the Cloud Walker and he's going to be bringing that today, because Cloud Walker is a very Nivek focused character in my opinion, but it looks like he is still playing the upgraded, which, to be fair, this is his main and has been for a long time. I'm not surprised to see him stick with upgraded, and it is going to be the Scorpion from Psycho, and it's Reborn no less, so a matchup we've seen many times in the Open Series.
We've talked about the potential of it being quite the Combat League heavy day, and I think upgraded versus Reborn, I mean, that is quite the Combat League experience. Let's go.
I actually have to point out as well, so last week, I think it was oh no, it wasn't the monthly final, it was it was last week, it was last Tuesday. That was the first time since the Open Series began that we went a week in Europe without seeing either Jackie or Scorpion in the bracket. In like 5 months, the late end of 5 months, that was the first time we'd seen it, without a single one of either character. And I feel like this week we're kind of catching up. So we have over the half the players in the bracket.
We have a lot to make up for.
Yes, we have to catch up.
So Nivek has got that high-octane Jackie, but does seem to play the character a little bit slower. You see a lot of the Russian Jackies, and especially recently with some community 2v2 activity, the Jackies that you see later in that bracket, it's all-out offense, crazy levels of mix. Whereas when Nivek plays this variation, it is much more focused around looking for that opportunity to explode, but then, that is where Jackie really comes alive, right? Like Nivek right there doesn't overextend and do anything too risky. 20 seconds on the clock. Just needs any kind of significant hit at this point. Psycho not quite able to pick that one up, but that will be a nice little confirm with Psycho taking the first round. And it is all about trying to contain the sometimes uncontainable Jackie.
Matt, a really good job so far. That was just a clean hit there as well, that mid. I feel like Nivek may have just taken the mid or throw game and crushing low confirmed. Psycho. Oh, I like that one. That was quite an unconventional restand, but it worked, right? You can go for what is like the standard restand, and whatever it might be, but as we saw from every now and then, if your opponent knows what to expect, you use something completely different, it can have a good opportunity to catch them out. And right now, Psycho, this is a great lead to have. He's sitting on about 60% life lead right now. He's got a lot of screen space to work with, full on bar, no breakaway for Nivek for at least another like 15 seconds or so. I like that decision as well. Just get rid of it. Take chip damage, doesn't give Nivek the opportunity to hit it back as well. Psycho doesn't need it to win the round. Psycho, I love the way he's played this. He's completely slowed it down.
And Nivek at the same time, he's piece by piece slightly worked Psycho into that corner. You know, he's finally got him where he wants him. You have to try and deny a teleport cancel, though. The instant leap into low. First time we've seen Nivek go for that one. That is quite the staple mix for Jackie in Upgraded. Immediate throw tech. Oh, that's the teleport out, and that will be the game. Absolutely. A brutality just for good measure with Psycho taking the first round. Now, I've got to say, I have not really seen Psycho in action, but as I always like to pay attention to, you know, the online chats and stuff and players that are understandably supporting their players that they're fans of and stuff like that, I do see players saying, don't sleep on Psycho. Psycho has a good chance to do well today, and clearly that was just crisp, clean Scorpion play. So definitely seems like, you know, the fans out there that support Psycho's game, you know, they know what they're getting into today, and I'm definitely impressed, even after a single game. We'll see if he can continue this momentum, I suppose, Mustard.
We will see indeed. As the Reborn pick, ever present, but always effective. But I actually think Psycho, you know, everything we're talking about Nivek, how Nivek is a lot more of like a patient man's Upgraded, where yes, he'll go for a lot of leaps, but it's not as much as you might expect, right? He's kind of not going as crazy constantly all the time. I feel like we saw a lot of elements of that from Psycho there. You know, normally you see Reborn, especially in the online space, you're used to seeing Scorpion very mobile, lots of cancels for the sake of it. But I feel like Psycho definitely playing a lot more kind of calm and collected, at least when he's got the life lead, which he won't have now as Nivek gets the first big hit. Oh, he tried to wake up air throw. Okay, interesting choice. I wonder if that was like to try and beat a medium leap, maybe.
Perhaps. I mean, Jackie is definitely a character, particularly in Upgraded, that can force some of those slightly more unorthodox decisions with the leap. But if they work, the reward can, in that case, be a counter-hit crushing blow air throw. So that definitely would have been good. The flawless block and the jump in. Good stuff. But the back-to-back button from Nivek is going to allow him to take this first round without question. An easy, simple little ender. And importantly, with Psycho's back to the corner, what does he do at round start? Does he try to escape? Wow, he just
that was risky. Yeah, he just let it rock. I wonder if the teleport cancel was such an obvious thing there that he was like, well, I'm not going to do it. Because how many Scorpion players will kind of instantly teleport cancel out the corner just to, like, they'll accept like a poke or whatever just to get out of that situation. Because now he's got the corner himself. Escape failed, locked as well. Uh-oh.
Mobility. Really good use of this mobility from Psycho, just flying around the screen, looking for which punishment whenever possible. The instant scout of the stagger. Nivek saying, I know you're going to go for it. Nice ender too. Good solid damage. Neutral jump just to chase down a roll. And he's going to catch the mid too. Crushing blow. Thank you for that. Now this is a scary position for Psycho because, I mean, look, he was one grab away from going out. The meaty leap was coming through. Maybe he could have rolled, done an up three, whatever. But look, we have the wonder of hindsight, being able to see what happened. That's a difficult position against Upgraded when you're one grab away from going out and the leap's just flying in the way it is.
It's one of the scariest things about Upgraded, right? Doing that leap right as your opponent's standing up, getting those buttons in, whether it's a blast, whether it's like blast into amplify just to recover in time. Like she can knock you down on like half screen and leap, and you'll be like, there's no way this will meet you. There's no way this will be guaranteed. But I promise you, a lot of the time, especially at the highest level like this, where you see these like top level Jackies, they're not going to mess that up, right? If they do a leap on your knockdown, chances are they're going to time it right. It is going to meet you. You have to respect it. And if you do try and squirm or press or anything but block a lot of the time, you are going to be in serious trouble, unfortunately. But that does tie things up now. Psycho took a really good game number one, but Nivek responds pretty much with the exact same thing in kind.
But it's the back and forth, isn't it? With how that first game went, I'm kind of thinking in the back of my mind, like, are we going to see a potential 3-0 here? But always happy to see Nivek fighting back and just giving it that.
Well, part of being a top-level player is adaptability, right? It's getting destroyed in one game and then being able to adjust to what went wrong for the next and onwards. Oh, the little shimmy, the walk back into the advancing mid.
Both players being able to do similar things like that to each other, because you've got that Jackie's advancing mid, Scorpion's back one, catching each other in similar situations. No escape failed, but the throw counter. I mean, did try and press a button, double catch. Nivek looking for the full combo, the wake up down one, challenging the meaty. But as Nivek secures another hit. Wow, the back one. I mean, that had to be max range right there. And we end in a restand situation. There's that back three. I haven't really seen much of them. The immediate micro wake up. That will be it.
Okay.
Crushing blow to keep the fatal blow later. I mean, that is resource management 101.
Oh, I like it, because I feel like it would have been so much easier to just confirm into fatal blow, but upgraded without fatal blow, the comeback is not as menacing as it normally would be. Oh, hello.
Oh,
That jump kick, but no, Psycho wasn't ready. The walk up, I don't know what happened there. He kind of just throws up. Tried to salvage it with an interactable, but ended up just throwing away some defensive bar. Oh, Nivek definitely tried to force block that.
Absolutely. He went for the flawless block and then the counter hit, because that would have been a giant combo, especially considering the fact that the meter was just spent, so no breakaway. Being able to, wow, wake-up buttons have been completely shredding Psycho in this game. Now, ending the side switch once more. We are ever closer to that environment interaction, and now with that one grab, we are in a scary position. The wake-up delay into standing one. By all means, he can still make this comeback. Oh, he stays in the air. Oh, and he brutalities in return. You took my heart, I'm gonna take your head.
That was a legitimate punish as well, and the recovery of that. Nivek really woken up. I feel like that first game, he maybe just needed a bit of time to kind of get to that top speed, get to that kind of familiarity. Maybe just a game to kind of figure out what it was Psycho was doing, like you said before, right? In that game, it was a considerable amount of wake-up buttons. Nivek was just timing meaties properly. It's kind of hard to... As strong as we know wake-up buttons are a lot of the time, there are some characters that wake-up buttons is a lot harder to do. And, you might be wondering, why does wake-up buttons work at all? It's because in this game, from the state of being on the ground to standing up, you are invincible for a huge amount of time, a huge amount of frames by normal standards. So if you try and go for wake up, and the second you hit, you actually get off the ground, you do a fast button, whether it's a standing one for 7 frames for Scorpion or down one for a fast poke, whatever. If they're meaty, their button that hits you right as you stand up is slightly off, your wake up button will win, and then you get off the ground, swing in basically, you hit them, and you get a lot of damage. Against Jackie, it's kind of hard to do that because Jackie's buttons are really good for meaty timing. And in the first game, we did see Psycho do a lot of them, and not so much now, because Nivek is timing those meaties a lot more on point.
This is always that interesting exchange at the very beginning, because Nivek, a lot more comfortable, and it kind of seems like as we go further and further on him, the Psycho, he's almost trying to answer back to the leak too much, and he's just getting caught by these buttons every single time. And that is a clean counter hit. I don't want to pin it as a mistake, because I do know that you need to be able to show Upgraded that she can't just do what she wants, but when every leap and every shrapnel blast works out the way it does, I mean, there reaches a point where you just need to go for some sort of adjustment to the game plan, because another clean catch, the relentless aggression for Nivek, a swift match point. And whoever wins this match moves on to fight Dangus. So there's going to be quite the interesting matchup right there. I think either side.
You see, though, no, Nivek, he's fishing for that big launch counter hit. Oh dear, and he just spent bar and teleport. Yep, that's all damage.
It's a lovely feeling getting a crushing blow like launch right as you know the opponent has no meter, and by the time he breaks, he's already lost about 20%. Oh, right near the corner. This is a pretty nasty position. Wow, that uppercut that just says, I need to create space, please get off me. Oh no, overwhelmed by the offense. Psycho looking incredibly comfortable, but I gotta say, kind of just looked less and less comfortable on defense the longer the set went on, and Nivek just getting a lot more in his aggressive element.
I mean, game number 1 was solid for Psycho. He got a good life lead in pretty much both rounds. He was able to really lame out Upgraded, because that's the thing about Upgraded as well, is she has just about everything, but one thing she doesn't have is still, and I know she, you're going to say she is one, but that kind of full screen presence of like a traditional projectile or fireball or something like that, right? So if you do have a life lead against her, and you can kind of just sit full screen, and she has to come to you eventually. She's not going to win the game from over there. If she doesn't have a life lead, she has to close the distance. And some characters can deal with those long-range neutral super jumps easier than others. Scorpion, we can see Scorpion go for like instant jump, like air throw, or teleport anti-airs and stuff like that. So I feel like in that kind of specific setting, Scorpion does have some decent answers. But that unfortunately was the only game we saw that circumstance be able to happen, as Nivek basically spent the entirety of the next 3 games with a life lead. Psycho just wasn't able to do that, which was working before, and the rest basically was it. As we saw Nivek just confirming constant mids, constant kind of threatening throw or button or whatever it was, and 9 times out of 10 it was going to be a button for Nivek. Confirmed, pressure, the whole shebang. And Nivek again showing us why he is such a strong player. That adaptation, that adaptability on the fly is a skill you need so much as a high-level player, and Nivek, he's been playing for a long time. So not at all surprised to see him make it work. But that does mean our first winners at round 2 matches secured, as Dangus versus Nivek is a game that I'm going to be very excited to see.
Old school matchup right there.
Soon. But we do have to finish off these last 2 first round matches, as we have Blood Eyes versus Mirko in what could very well be a Scorpion mirror match.
And not just that. Pay attention to the first round of losers between Psycho and Mercer. So, although we're not going to stream that side of losers bracket, we stream when top 4 is ready to take place. You have to look at these bracket matches now, and it's like Blood Eyes and Mirko could definitely be a Scorpion mirror. We've just seen Scorpion before, and then in the first matchup, Psycho and Mercer, probably going to be a Scorpion mirror again. Scorpion mirror potentially in the next matchup, and then the matchup after that. It's just every round today, with the exception of Dangus and Nivek, could be Scorpion. It's just kind of...
I mean,
this is the first time
this
has ever happened. It's a concentration of the poster boy, isn't it?
Well, I want to say as well, we are saying potentially, because I know Blood Eyes is mainly known as a Frost player, so I definitely don't think it's guaranteed. I think it's just he has a Scorpion when it's needed, but it's definitely known as far as I'm aware, it's a main Arctic Anarchy Frost. So Frost is already a character that, to be completely honest, we don't really see in Europe, and even North America for that matter. I feel like Frost has a surprisingly low amount of players, across the board, which is, I think, quite strange. I think a lot of the community seems to rate Frost quite low in the game sense, but to be honest, I think that Frost, she has decent neutral, and she has good fundamental options. That's the main thing about Frost. Like, she's not very spectacular, she's not very flashy and extravagant, but she has good buttons, she has good range, she has good frame traps, she has a very good fatal blow, and she has, at the very least, 2 of the 3 variations are very universal.
Do you remember what variation Blood Eyes plays? Because Frost does change up depending on whether you do rock either of the 3.
I believe it's
common.
Arctic Anarchy. I think it's mainly Arctic Anarchy. But here's the thing, it could be any of them. Because the thing is, all 3 Frost variations do have a place. Even Frostbite. Frostbite is a variation that I feel like by now, the players that play Frostbite, specialize in Frostbite. You know what I mean? Like, no one really dabbles or pockets Frostbite anymore. It's kind of like, if you play Frostbite, that is like the thing you play.
Well,
but
even
then,
the situation there. I'm sorry to cut you off, but before we leave this point, I kind of want to really mention that Frostbite, she has kind of become, and I'm sure it's actually by design, the Cyber Sub-Zero / Cyrax of the game, because
kind of.
Hear me out. It is closer to Cyber Sub-Zero because it's a combination of, buttons, like longer range buttons, and the setup potential. But what I mean by that is, as you quite rightly pointed out, those that play that variation really specialize. When we see people in the older Mortal Kombats, if an MK9 player was a Cyber Sub player, they were Cyber Sub through and through, and they had to put the work in to make the character work. Same thing with MKX Cyrax, MKX Cyber Sub-Zero. You look at Frostbite, and if someone's playing Frostbite, they play almost only that. So it's kind of like, I do like how in every single game that element kind of exists in some capacity. A specialist character.
As a long-time player of one of those characters, or that kind of archetype, I feel like the similarities are basically the same of get a hit, turn it into a bomb, your opponent now has to deal with it. Whether that's always for mix-ups is not always the case. A lot of the time it's just to put something on them that they have to deal with. So whether it's forcing a jump, whether it's forcing a specific wake-up option you're looking for. In this kind of game, with the amount of wake-up options you have, that is the biggest strength that the bomb has. Because you're not using it for unblockable, the Frost Bomb is a mid, so it's not going to be used for you know, crazy unblockables like it has been previously, or hard to blockables even. It's mainly, I've got a hit, I've guaranteed a bomb on you, what are you going to do about it? So if you sit there blocking, you might get thrown, then get frozen by the explosion, and boom, I've just comboed you for throwing, right? But that's even if we see that. You know, this is a talking point that might not even be worth it, as I'm fairly sure we're going to be seeing the Arctic Anarchy. But here's the thing, all 3 Frost variations are usable, for sure. But it is going to be Frost? Yes, it is. Arctic Anarchy, definitely more about that kind of longer range game. You know, decent projectile, makes back 2, you know, her longest range button a lot scarier. Good air options with the dive bomb to keep your opponent on their toes. And more consistent damage. And that's the big thing. Yeah, it is going to be Arctic Anarchy. So Ice Machine has the bigger damage on paper, but is less good at like conversions and anti-airs, which is something Frost is incredible at. That down 3, one of the best anti-airs in the game. Arctic Anarchy foregoes standing damage for higher damage per hit, really. When you're like anti-airing into higher damage than the other variations get, or converting, whatever it is. This is a very strong, especially in the corner. This variation's corner game is very obnoxious. That really kind of solid MK11 corner game where you get your opponent in the corner and you're not quite point blank, you're kind of like sweep to jump distance. You're kind of just threatening them with long range buttons. Arctic Anarchy is so good at that.
Oh my goodness, the anti-air from Mirko to begin. And I gotta say, Blood Eyes, the custom Frost, looks so good. That's an intimidating looking Frost right there. However, we haven't really touched on Mirko at all, because to be honest, he doesn't need an introduction. Even if you don't, you know, you've watched Open Series or even not, you know that Mirko is strongly considered to be one of the absolute best Scorpions, not only in this part of the world, but the world in general. And he has consistently proven that in a competitive setting. So
I mean, he's going into monthly finals for Open Series. Exactly. He's won weeklies. Like, he is a successful Open Series competitor. And beyond, I'd say online European MK tournaments, Mirko's always been right up there.
And that's the bait. Immediately catches it, and he keeps it unbreakable.
Oh
that's
my
one
goodness,
of the things
no.
I've always loved about Mirko is how when he punishes for 2 bars, he does it in that order a lot, so that by the time you can break, you might not even want to, because you've taken so much damage.
No, but here's the thing, when you've got a lot of health, he will go for the teleport first, because he wants you to break to get rid of that bar. But when you're that low, that's when he'll go for the other way around. So it's spear and then teleport, so it's not just worth it. And it ends up getting more damage because of it. That meter management from Mirko. So good.
Oh, from that range, a little bit risky. Doesn't quite believe it was going to whiff punish, perhaps, because that 1-1 was confirmed into nothing. Frost, the back 1, such a good miss.
Oh, the knowledge!
Oh, that is knowledge indeed. Man, it looks like Blood Eyes. He's playing well. It's just Mirko. He's getting a lot of situations where he's just baiting Blood Eyes to press.
Oh, that was reaction! 2-1-2, there it is.
Never challenge Mirko's reactions. Rule 1. Oh! That would have been almost game over. Mirko didn't have meter to confirm, but that trip guard counter hit would have hurt very much indeed. Doesn't get the low profile, the meaty jump. Blood Eyes fighting back. The drills. Oh! The dive bomb. That dive bomb, always a tricky punish. It just depends on how high up she is when she does it. Dictates whether you can punish it or not.
It's also the speed, like, as with any of those, like, dive kick style moves, the startup is so quick. Oh, big jump in! Ooh. Oh, and you know what? No, I love that. Blood Eyes, he went for the 1-3. That has, the main option you do off that is the 1-3-2, which is the plus, you know, plus on block, kind of like drill punch, but it is got a flawless block gap. And that was Blood Eyes knowing that Mirko is the kind of player, if there is a gap, if there is knowledge, he will flawless block, he will punish, and that was Blood Eyes looking for that interruption. He was looking for that flawless block and tried to fatal blow to catch it. But Mirko, too patient. I do like the way Blood Eyes is playing this set, though. I think he really has... The real thing is kind of almost like knowledge checks, where even to this day, not a tremendous amount of people are that prepared for Frost or Arctic Anarchy. And the knowledge you need against this variation to really make it not look as, like, solid overall is the the auger, the drill shot. When you amp that on block, it makes anything safe, but there is 9 times out of 10 a gap. But most people don't deal with it. Most people don't punish it because they have to be aware of it. If they look for the flawless block and you don't amp, obviously they put themselves in a dangerous situation. But Mirko is not one of those players. He is going to be aware. He's going to have that knowledge. And you have to play around it. But it was that second round was a lot closer. So I definitely don't think we're going to have a wash here.
So here we go. Game 2. Mirko He takes the win, but by no means was that an easy feat. And the late jump kicks Blood Eyes, making the anti-air potential really tricky. Gets the jump in just too far away to confirm, though. It is uncontested. The long range, and that, the drills. It does take her longer range game, and just being able to stick on a full combo drill afterwards goes a long way. Like the short hop timing, actually, to make sure that string can meaty. We do see players now, they try to make their chance of meatying just a little bit better by specifically timing. That's a full combo, bam! And now a knockdown. It's a spin. More of the short hop. Oh, let's look at string rock.
Goes the plus frames in favor of the third hit of the string.
Blood Eyes has had quite the round here. Mustard Lovely Tech. Ooh, goes for the late dive bomb. Risky.
I mean, I understand, like, you have breakaway, you have the health, like, you can afford to take a risk like that. It would have killed, but the problem is Mirko, the kind of player you do not want to give Mirko a way back into a game. Oh, the interruption. No! That is why you don't give Mirko an inch, because he will take a mile. What a confirm into fatal blow. That's going to kill.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there it is. Mirko with the almost impossible comeback. That was like a 70% difference at least.
If you're against Mirko, for the love of God, don't get hit by that forward fall when he's got fatal blow. I have lost count of how many comebacks I've seen him post on Twitter where his final fatal blow confirmed comes from a forward four. Because you're just worried about the back three. You don't want to get back three 5 times in a row. And that's why you block overhead preemptively. Blood Eyes gave him a small opportunity. A tiny, the most minuscule of openings. And here we are, Mirko now. Up around, and one more of these, it'll be a 2-0. This is why he's ridiculous.
Oh, tries to trip guard, but Blood Eyes recovers. Now, Blood Eyes, you can tell how he's just been slowed down. You can't play that normal kind of like longer range frost neutral because it's just an easy teleport reaction. You have to get in. You have to play at the range of your buttons. Down forward, back two, whatever. Looking down again, Mirko. Oh, counter hit. There we go. No breakaway either for Mirko. This is big damage. Spin the bar. Yeah. Ooh, close to 400 there from Blood Eyes. Clean, crushing blow combo.
Staggers the forward three. Really want you to expect a grab at this point. That's not even a combo. We just spend both bars. Restand. Stagger. Might get the down two. Oh. Oh. Oh.
Okay, going for a big brain kind of reset situation there, but Blood Eyes is having none of it.
By the way,
make one comeback on me, that's fine, but not two. Not in the same game.
Important observation, yellow and red robots in the background.
Yep.
So good.
Could it be any other way?
The best. Best stage. Best stage in the game, this level. Anyway, back to the match. More of this. Just kind of back and forth, really. Even
he really is trying to constantly establish the forward four or overhead, right? Like, he wants that low overhead mind game.
I love Mirko's use of back two. You know, those top level scorpions, back two into teleport. On here, they'll combo it, and on block, they will cancel. Quick little reactions for it. No easy feat, but looking for the button press. Recovers in time. That
really is the magic game, though, right? That max range down four, back two. The lunge. Nice hit.
Ending it in the drill, so you get a nice setup, too. Throw counter. No escape failed. Frost with escape failed. Oh, boy. More respect being shown. Oh, that's a confirm. It's not quite enough damage, but Mirko in hot water for sure. Oh, and that's the up three to immediately shut it down. This has been some impressive Frost. Blood Eyes. I mean, how long has it been in the European Russian side of, sorry, CIS, I guess it's more correct, in Open Series that we've even seen a Frost get used? I can't remember the last time I saw it.
The last time I think we saw it was when Orc was down in a grand finals, and it was like a last-ditch effort, like a Frost had barely started playing, it didn't work out, and then that was the end of it. I think this is the first time we've seen in Europe a real dedicated kind of like Frost main, take to the stage and make it work. And I want to say as well, very important for Blood Eyes to win that game. I think after that first round being an immense comeback from Mirko, if Mirko won that game, this would have been a 3-0. Because I feel like that just would have been momentum that you do not want to give a player like Mirko. To have him make that kind of comeback and then proceed to slow him down and win the game anyway, I think that has put it back to, even in more ways than just the scoreline. I think the momentum is evened out. Blood Eyes has definitely got that confidence that we need to see. And a lot less commitment as well. You know, Blood Eyes really is playing the matchup properly here, not committing to too much at the same time. You know, keeping things nice and tricky, not taking zero risk, but taking just enough to keep Mirko on his toes. I really like the way Blood Eyes is playing this. Oh, anti-air.
Oh. There is the break though. You know, if you expect that spin, sometimes you can break away and punish you as you come up, but not something you see every day. It does open up an interesting dynamic. The grab game of Frost. Those grabs sending you to a range where she's very comfortable. That grab just sending you to a down 4 range where she has the drills on top. Not the end of the world, is it? On top of damage and maybe even escape failed if you're lucky. Speaking of which, throw escape. Get off me. And it is the drill of Arctic Anarchy, the move that is just such a pain. We are starting to see the dive bomb less and less because all the dive bomb has done so far is take away Blood Eyes' momentum. And everything else, then thank you very much. There's the drill. A second catch. 24% into the jump in. No anti-air from Mirko. Blood Eyes is alternating between jumping punch and jumping kick so much. There's the check.
Oh, and there's the check. Yep. Blood Eyes playing this really well. Again, like really just has this kind of strange way of keeping things safe, but at the same time not in such a way that Mirko's not getting caught out.
In a minute, that back 3 always puts you in a position where it's just irritating. Forward 4 is real to confirm. Always ready for Mirko. Teleporting himself into the corner, escape failed. Actually, looks like Blood Eyes was maybe expecting the less obvious throw, but...
Yeah, that was the... Oh my goodness!
Oh no!
Rare footage of actually seeing that in a real game. That all the crushing blow.
Both players...
That's hitting it on the absolute tip possible.
Oh, this is doing so much damage. Blood Eyes is just absolutely...
Oh, and he got the throw! Oh my goodness, what a game for Blood Eyes. Up 2-1 now. I have never seen that Augur crushing blow just normally in a game before, especially in tournament. That has to hit at it's hit at max range, but it's like, it is horrifically specific. Like, that has to be like the tip of the tip of the tip has to connect.
It's kind of like Madman's Kapow, where it's counter hit at max range. So it's like so specific you almost never see it.
Not even a counter hit. This one is just hit at max range. The only way I'd seen it work is if you get if you get the core overload freeze, if you amplify it, and then you have enough time to back off, walk to max range, and then fire it. But I've never seen it hit by itself normally.
Oh,
and that also meant that Blood Eyes had to actually be holding the button still. So Blood Eyes was definitely looking for it to connect. That definitely wasn't just coincidental.
It's that sixth sense. Now Mirko has changed to Searing Rage. He does do this when the cancel just doesn't really do a huge amount. He just goes blow for blow and damage, and the extra staggers and the difference of pressure that he gains access to. Now I respect and understand this change because Blood Eyes has got incredible reactions of his own. He's seeing that teleport and he's just nullifying it. He's taking the throws, he's not getting counter hit, and sometimes he's just straight up punishing it, right? So I understand the teleport's not really doing anything for Mirko, so he's now changing to utility that he might be able to use better. Oh. And the moment
it does make the teleport considerably more dangerous, however. Using the ability to cancel, that makes it much more of a commitment, but commitment for much higher payoff.
Man, look at Mirko's stagger game, though. You just feel like, when is it my turn? It just never ends. This has been a very button-focused match, my friends. And has been Mirko, Searing Rage. All the reactions. No flawless blocks.
Speaking of force blocks, though, we're seeing noticeably less from Mirko.
See that reaction? Mirko. He has brought himself up to 11, I think, and there's that button press. Death spin. What was that round? So one thing I didn't get to say though, Mirko, when you see him play Searing Rage, he is so incredibly button focused. Oh my lord, these reactions have been ridiculous, Mustard.
That's what he plays his variation to do. He wants to stagger, he wants to keep his turn going, especially with that spear buff activated. He wants the most damage.
I've never seen a Searing Rage do the staggers up close the way Mirko does. Never seen it. It's just a different style.
Oh, it clips in
overhead. Oh, and that's big damage. Oh, 40%. Do the math. This has been an incredible turnaround. Oh dear, Splat. What a game. And yeah, yes indeed.
Just built that.
Wow. Oh, Mirko. That was a quick game, Mustard. What do you think? Now, do we think Blood Eyes even... Does Blood Eyes change variation? Like, I don't know. Is this a situation where that happened?
I don't think this is a variation thing. I think it's just Mirko swapped to do something very specific. It's to teleport less, and when you do get point blank, have more options. Because that's the thing about Reborn. Reborn is picked. Like, no one's picking Reborn for the air grab. You know what I mean? Like, the air grab is decent, sure, but it's not, like, game-changing. It's very matchup specific, sure, but it's not the reason you pick Reborn. The teleport is what you do it for, and the teleport comes with, you know, safety, because you can make things safe that normally aren't. You get that kind of mind game. However, Searing Rage trades all of that for better staggers and higher damage. However, Blood Eyes has instantly changed to Spawn again for the second time today. We're seeing Spawn.
There's just so much Spawn in the Open Series now, and it's always the one as well.
I feel like some Illuminati email just went around to like everyone that plays competitive MK11. It was just like, everyone plays Spawn now. Everyone start playing Spawn. I'm joking, obviously. For all we know, Blood Eyes has played this character for a long time. I haven't seen anything but Spawn or Scorpion from him in a while. Not Spawn, sorry, Frost or Scorpion.
There's just so much Spawn. Oh, look at that movement. Man, Spawn's movement's so crispy. Now Blood Eyes. Oh,
Speaking of crispy
block. This is just getting ridiculous. 24% for a flawless block, and yeah, the extra damage, but that's a big launch. Mirko getting us up 2 means that he, in return, cannot break. And the damage is immediately traded cancel into button. Now this is, I mean, what does Blood Eyes do? The corner. If Mirko puts him in the corner, I mean, don't get grabbed, mate. Wow. So much flawless blocks. You thought it was your turn? Think again! Oh no! The neutral jump and a match point for Blood Eyes with the Spawn. I did not expect any of this today. Come on. We only just had the monthly finals like a few days ago. We're going into just a complete change of pace. Don't get grabbed. What?
Now Mirko is consistently blocking that fireball. The 3-forward projectile shot doesn't actually jail. I wonder if he's blocking in fear of the charge. Regardless though, look at the damage. Grotesque.
Another
now,
down
okay,
one.
Oh no! Hang on, wait, no. Oh dear. You break, but you've still taken 380 damage.
Oh! The block on the back
cannot get hit. If Mirko gets hit by anything, he's dead. Not again, the OS. I can't believe it. Mirko found it. This is a scary game.
Yes, it is. But what's important is that, okay, so the grab crushing blow was lost, but we might not even be in the corner or with the forward 2, and that's a clean punish for Mirko. Wake up buttons. They trade.
Traded. Oh, punish! Optimal. Oh, 2 bars.
Oh, the whip grab! That could have been
so defensive off Blood Eyes. If Mirko hits him now, it's a big damage. Oh, he committed. Oh, but no punish. Blood Eyes cannot afford to miss that punish. Not now.
Look at the angle.
Yeah, this has been a bit of a scramble catch-up. That was a mistimed jump kick too. Both players, we're getting towards the end. Both are spent.
2-1-2.
Oh, spends the 1, saves 1.
Grab or button? That is the question. The down one. The tech from Mirko keeping himself alive. Oh! No, he's dead! He's dead!
Oh my goodness.
My good lord, Mirko misjudged the chip! He misjudged it! And he's gonna pay the ultimate price. Blood Eyes. The punish. Oh! He even had last breath left. Fatality or friendship?
I didn't even know that standing 3-4 could actually combo into Fatal Blow. Last I heard it didn't. I heard that straight up didn't work. But Blood Eyes is proving us wrong. Live and dangerous. Good lord. What a set. I would say, very unexpected change to Spawn. You know, I didn't know what to expect. This is the first time I've seen Blood Eyes on the Open Series. I've not seen a Spawn before, but I mean, Spawn really has become this character that we are seeing more and more, and those that are playing him really are making him look solid. That was a tidy Spawn, but on the flip side to Mirko, very unfortunate at the end to have to make such a mistake. Because the thing is, I feel like he didn't do that for the chip damage. I feel like that was a if this hits I win the game. Because look at the life left when he did it. Look at the life left.
No,
like
but
that was
the entire
never gonna chip out.
No.
Chip
Here's
out
my theory.
and go through last breath at that health. That was never gonna do it.
I
That was
do.
3 hits away from
I
killing.
challenge. I do challenge it because he did it from forward 3, right? He did it from the forward 3. Now, if that forward 3 connected, he still wouldn't have. But in the spur of the moment, he had spear buff activated as well. Spear buff drastically adds to the chip damage. There was so many potentials there. But the big thing that really set that in motion was that the forward 3 didn't connect, so we wouldn't even have known. However, an amazing match, Blood Eyes. I don't think we're going to have that point because I can assume Blood Eyes would go Frost, but there is a potential reality where we might have Blood Eyes versus Dangus in a winners final, where we might even have I don't think we would. I do think it would be Spawn and Frost. But imagine that.
Oh, that would be so good. That would be so amazing.
We've only just started November. Come on, I wasn't ready for these matches, and we're going for our final one now.
I mean, we did say, going into Ultimate, are we going to see some things we don't normally see? And the answer is lots of Spawn. Spawn all over the show. But we are now going in to our 4th and final round 1 winners game. It's going to be the long-awaited return of B-Boy KU versus Flet from Russia. Flet is a player that we've seen, I'd say, a bit more than B-Boy. However, both players definitely known, especially again in the online space. And I feel like I say that a lot nowadays. I feel like we're at the point with Open Series where we're seeing competitive players that we recognize, or we're seeing new faces to Open Series that we do still kind of recognize from the online realm. We're not kind of seeing many players that we just haven't seen, period, at all. And I kind of like that. I feel like that means that a lot of players are kind of like seeing Open Series over time and are gradually entering it. Also, congrats to both Flet and B-Boy. We're seeing them in the lobby. They're both at least demigods. They're going to get all of those reptile skins. So, congrats to them.
Oh, those reptile skins look so good.
These Combat League skins are getting a lot better as we go through. What is it, like Season 13 now, I think it is? Season 12, Season 13?
I have such Combat little of them.
No, I got Elder God early and I was like, that's it. Nowhere to go from here. already max rank. That's it.
You were playing Frost at the time, weren't you? When you
yes. That was I was playing Frost the most. But what a fun time that was. And Frost as a character, kind of really has gone to new heights. From then to now, and seeing players like Blood Eyes be able to really bring it competitively. To a player like Mirko, one thing we haven't said is that match. That's an upset. As far as I'm concerned, that is an upset that we saw Blood Eyes be able to take it over. One of the favorites, thoroughly, one of the absolute favorites in Open Series for Europe in Mirko. But we'll talk more about that later on as we go through to our round 2 games, as Flet versus B-Boy is ready to go. Flet, really known mainly for Showstopper, but has actually been playing an increasing amount of Outtake, as it seems nowadays. Has really kind of started working on this variation. Normally it would be like, if Showstopper didn't work, we'd see him go to like the Sub-Zero, or even the Spawn himself. Flet is another player that has played Spawn and Cabal, so who knows?
So it's going to be the Dead of Winter though, the Sub-Zero coming out. So it's surprising. The mix conversions and everything in between. And Flet, he has always kind of prioritized, although you said he has played Outtake in the past a little bit. It is very much Showstopper as his bread and butter with this character. It is the conversions. He loves to keep damage unbreakable sometimes as well. I definitely see him go for kind of restand situations often. However, B-Boy is going to start that mixed machine, already confirming into that low as we go into the corner. Meaty, no confirm, but the overhead blocked and scouted out. Now, there's always these kind of hidden things where some players say, like, oh, how do you stay so on top of it? How do you sometimes I get overwhelmed when I block something. The idea is, if there's something that you feel you can't react to, and Sub-Zero, some players do react to his mix and some players can't. That's just the way it is. If there is a direction you have to dedicate to, the 100% thing you have to be ready for is the punish. If you expect an overhead, block that overhead and make sure you've got your damage. Because if you're not punishing those mix-ups, that player is just going to run all over you, I think.
It's the eternal point of risk versus reward. If something is unsafe on block but very rewarding on hit, and you block it, you need to punish it, because otherwise it becomes no risk on block and all reward, right? And that's going to make people a lot more eager to just go ham.
It looks like we just continue this bit of a back and forth so far. Flet, bit of a life lead, but against Dead of Winter, we do know how quickly that can delete. However, looking comfortable so far.
Frames.
Just shut down Chip. Respected by Flet. Flet, not the kind of player that always challenge plus frames. He's very respectful in that degree.
You say right as he challenges plus frames. But hey, that was B-Boy trying something a little bit different. He tried to use a back one as kind of like a pseudo reset, but Flet does play Dead of Winter. He's going to know that's not real.
Oh yeah, it's a good shout. He actually does play Sub-Zero himself. I haven't seen him play Sub-Zero in quite some time. Neither have I seen his Scorpion. That's been mostly Johnny Cage recently, settling on it, but more of that pushback. Oh, looks for a button press, and that's a conversion. Only in Dead of Winter, baby. That deep freeze, the faster ice ball. The second that patch came in, that meant that jump kicks scale combos a lot more. Dead of Winter had to rely a lot more on that amplified deep freeze just to make sure the damage kind of makes up for it a little bit.
Oh, the confirm. Now the unbreakable damage first. B-Boy break. No, I actually think he wanted the fatal blow. Yeah. Taking the damage into fatal blow territory. Reset. Ooh.
Oh,
That's
he
it.
did!
That's it.
Sub-Zero! The Sub-Zero effect, ladies and gentlemen. That is exactly why Sub-Zero is such a threat. That fatal blow ready. I can freeze you. I've got an overhead low that combos. Whoa, watch out, mate.
Well, the unfortunate end to that for Flet, though, was Flet dropped that combo. You know, the final hit. You know, he dropped it at like the least impactful point for damage, but it's the advantage that he lost. He went for like the 1-2-4 ender. He wanted the kick to get the advantage off of that to kind of just keep things going. But the kick missed, so the damage was basically unchanged, you know, by a couple of percent. But the big thing is the kick is where the advantage comes from on hit, and he missed that. So B-Boy was able to get up a lot earlier than planned, kind of find that hit, and then you know, a couple of resets later, we see the rest unfold as Dead of Winter. You know, one of the characters in the game that really, when Dead of Winter gets that fatal blow, it thoroughly is like, okay, we're in trouble now. Especially someone like B-Boy, right? He's been playing these aggressive characters for so long. Like, it's a playstyle he's very familiar with. So on the receiving end, it's very dangerous.
So same matchup. Dead of Winter, showstopper. Ultimately, I mean, it didn't really seem like much variations played a part in that matchup. You know, it was ultimately, you know, make sure you're landing your combos, getting your damage, and reacts to the best of your abilities to the Sub-Zero mix, because B-Boy was able to completely annihilate that health bar at the very last minute, and that is why Dead of Winter is so scary in this kind of realm, because you know, that overhead low, and that's just one of the elements of the mix-up. We haven't even really seen many grabs. Ooh! Oh! Tries to whip punish with that back one, but not quite. Essentially got a little bit more there. The meaty low. We are playing such a battle at this jump distance, aren't we?
I mean, this is where Flet needs to keep it, though, because it's going to be a mind game of deep freeze versus force ball. Because, like, normal force ball won't lose to normal ice ball as much, because it's got really good recovery, but there's that amplified ice you have to watch for, because it's going to plow through. Oh, whiff punish, yep. Then the bar took the damage. Oh, hello. Okay, interesting.
Perfect call out.
Go for that. Oh, and there it is again. It's the neutral ice ball B-Boy.
A lot of Sub-Zero players often do not think they can really... I mean, what else are you really going to get that forward 4 crushing blow? You know, it's a situational armor break, normally when the opponent's already in the air. However, yeah, may as well, because you're not going to get it in any other situations unless you just magically get the other requirement, which is not so easy and competitive. However, the grab here from Flet, really trying to fight back. Oh. Cheeky down one. B-Boy, he's been throwing out quite a few of those down ones in positions where I just don't think Flet is expecting it. And you know, that down one on hit, stealing a turn away. Look at him continue impressive.
I mean, Sub-Zero's down one. Oh! Speaking of which, we'll talk about his down one in a second. It's that uppercut, that down two. That is the MVP right now. That breakaway is one now. B-Boy, he is down on life again, but he's about to get into that fatal blow territory. We'll see what can happen. And, ooh, I don't know what that was. I wonder if that was just like a... Because that was a standing 2. I never meant to an overhead and forward 2 first.
Definite missed input right there. Absolute definite 1000% missed input. But Sub-Zero, fatal blow. Ah, trades. Right before. Oh no, the 2 times in a row he tried to deep freeze before the projectile comes out. He gets hit by the projectile he's trying to go through. Feels bad, man.
Final round. Fight.
This is a pivotal round, though. This will be the difference between the 2-0 lead. Oh, no! Unfortunate breakaway there for Flet. B-Boy wins this as a 2-0 lead, and that is a huge advantage to have, but for Flet, this is just to tie things up, get some of that breathing room back.
And it looks like at this rate, we should be more than happy to do a 1-1 situation. Now, he does whiff.
We never say never. B-Boy, he has got the potential here.
The Dead of Winter
is sitting in the week 2 for the big payout.
You know, that down 1 on Wake Up from Flair, the reality is B-Boy was not close range. So unless you really get that meaty on deck, that down 1's going to chew you up that far away. What?
I don't know what that was. Oh, and he went for it again. He went for it again. We saw B-Boy try that before. He's going for those kind of like pseudo resets where... And here's an interesting point, right? With a character like Sub-Zero, you kind of have your quintessential resets, right? For any character that can leave you standing, it's so common to be like, right, I'm just going to do whatever button gives me the most advantage and then do a reset from there. So for Sub-Zero, a lot of Sub-Zero players in Dead of Winter, they'll do Ice Ball and then they'll do like a back 3-2 or standing 4, because those 2 options have like more advantage than pretty much anything else you could do. Like standing 4 is one you see a lot of, right?
Can we quickly, before you continue that point, before it becomes irrelevant, can we talk about the fact that Flair down 1 the forward 2 kind of match robbery attempt and then immediately did the most sarcastic fatality possible?
Yeah.
Off the back of that. I think
that is exactly what I was about to say, though, where, like, in that instance, we saw B-Boy do that in game number 1, where he gets the freeze, and he tries to reset off of back 1. So the reason you'll do that is, like, you want to show your opponent that, okay, well, you almost want to make it look like you're doing something else, because you're not used to seeing Sub-Zero players reset off back 1. So you'll see a Sub-Zero player do it, and you'll think, oh, okay, he's cashing out for damage. And there might be that moment that you see it, and you're like, oh, okay, he's going to hit me. And then you might not be ready for a reset right there and then. But both times he's tried it, Flet has straight up down 1 before it. Like, Flet knows it's coming, he knows it's not going to work, and he's been interrupting it.
Uh-oh. All these lows. Fleck constantly scouting out either a button press there. Wow, the back 2. Okay. Either way,
yeah, immediately that back 2 in combos mid-screen, much more than your normal. Like, we're actually seeing him do the back 2 instead of like the crossover jump kick that you'd normally see some Zero players do. I wonder if he just feels more comfortable with these combos instead. Oh, hello!
If it works for him, I'm not one to challenge, but here comes the potential comeback in Fleck!
Wait!
Oh, no! B-Boy just...
What?
Really? What? No! No! What? This is not part of the plan! No! Salesman of the week!
I have never seen such an incredible comeback ruined at the last hurdle by such a small mistake. He had 3 combos, perfect execution, perfect meaties, perfect meter management. All he had to do was standing 3-4 until they either finished a string or shadow kick, anything. He did nothing. I don't know what he was looking for. Oh, that was unfortunate, and now it has gone all downhill from there. All downhill.
Heartbreaker. Absolute heartbreaker.
100% comeback. It was his. It was finished. Oh no.
Oh dear.
No. Poor Flet.
Holding up. Flet just really trying to challenge at this point. He has to just go in swinging.
99% of the work. And the 1% was like the easiest part of the whole thing. Oh, the unfortunate choke. Can he bring this back? For his sake, he needs to win this round.
But he has to navigate the minefield of ice. B-Boy is
Oh,
no. Oh, he's going to feel so bad about that game. You know he is.
Okay, so both of those rounds, if you're Flet, they're tilted. You know what I mean? That is round 1. You are on the cusp of making the truly impossible comeback. Like, B-Boy, he was just getting smacked. You know what I mean? Like, he had a tremendous life lead. and was trying to squirm out on defense because he knew all he needed was like the smallest amount of damage. So he's probably trying to just squirm out, find the down one, find something, anything, because you just need the one hit, doesn't matter. You know, it's Johnny Cage showstopper, he's not going to kill you instantly. But Flet made the right call on like 3 back-to-back opportunities, 3 heavy hits, 3 chunky combos, and that was it. And he even got the fatal blow cancel. Like, everything that could have been clutch about that comeback was clutch until that final moment. And then for the second round to go down to like walking into a raw fatal blow, I understand why B-Boy would do that. Because B-Boy is clearly seeing from how Flet is playing, you are making a lot of mistakes. You're clearly a bit flustered from what happened, so I'm going to do something that is going to ramp it up to 11. But for Flet's sake, he has to shake that off. He has to shake it off, go into the rest of the set, forget about that game, and finish this one. Because if he doesn't, this could end right here. Because right now, B-Boy has all of the momentum. Oh, now we're doing down 4 cold shoulder as well. B-Boy, he's feeling himself.
And I think he kind of expects Flet to be a little bit affected by what's been going on in that last match. Right, the flawless block, the plus frames, good stuff. More of these down ones. B-Boy, just, I don't know, he's maybe a bit too far ahead. The raw ice ball could not have been intentional. However, here comes Flet.
It's the first time we've seen him do it. So it's either a consistent input error or he is like maybe trying to big brain and think of like maybe he's going to jump off something.
Definitely think it's probably input error because he's playing so fast here that, I mean, he might even be a little bit nervous, to be honest. We've all been there before. All that string, you forget how much damage it does. Massive whip. That kind of round, I think, is B-Boy getting too ahead of himself, swinging too hard and playing a bit too fast as Flet capitalizes and takes the next round. Here we go. The immediate turn of momentum. Looks like Flet tightening things up. And B-Boy just trying to squirm his way out of this corner. The throw tech. And another jump.
Confirm. Still though, B-Boy's got 2 bars. Definitely get some damage here if he needs it. Oh. We're doing a lot of lows. B-Boy definitely trying to play it safe, and there's the overhead. First overhead of the game.
High challenges, and he is likely to pay the game price on that one as Flet repositions. A fantastic game to win, given how the last game went away. And wait, he fatalities again? Wow. Okay.
I mean, I would. If I was in this situation and the last match went the way it did, I would rinse this for all it was worth. Slow things down, go into this now, game 5, secured. 2 back-to-back game 5s, good lord. I think both first sets of the day were like pretty one-sided, but second half of this first round has been the complete opposite.
So,
game 5.
Look at that freeze frame. So, the first win, after you get the down 1 interruption, Johnny Cage humiliates you. And the second win that Johnny Cage gets, he swears at you.
He's giving you the middle finger.
It's like Flet is probably taking any frustration that could have existed and he's channeling it into the appropriate fatality. Now, as we go into our final game here, actually it looks a little bit like it was B-Boy that was just going a bit too far ahead now, changing to Hat Tricks Kung Lao, the final character pick here, and our final match of winners round 1 before we move on. This has been quite the matchup, but I think Flet's the one feeling the momentum. B-Boy, the question is, he has to make sure things are tightened up. I do wonder how this final match is going to go. I think that maybe even Flet's the one that has the kind of mental advantage here.
I mean, you would hope so for Flet right now because of like just how that last game went. Because it's been impossible to call so far. However, this is, as far as I'm concerned, this is B-Boy's main character. Kung Lao. This is what we were expecting to see from the start. It was the Sub-Zero pick that was actually quite the surprise. And it is hat tricks as well. That's the big thing about B-Boy. B-Boy is very much mainly a hat tricks player. And whenever I see him play online, whenever I see him on Kombat League, it's hat tricks most of the time.
Wake up jump. I say his defense is B-Boy's defense in general has been highly disrespectful. I mean, lots of buttons, lots of jumping, very little blocking, I will admit.
Oh, but no one punished
challenges. He has got a breaker. Opts not to use it. As here comes Flet answering back, and he gets caught by the 1-2-1. That'll be a match point for Flet. B-Boy, I think he's kind of squirming on defense a little bit too much. He's just giving up 3 damage in these specific situations where Flet, he's just meatying when you're getting caught. There we go, plus respects the down 3. Ooh, here we go. Back to a full screen. Hat-Tricks doesn't have the kind of level of unpredictability that Lotus Fist does. However, a nice ranged game, if played right against Showstopper, might be a little bit different because of the speed of the projectiles, however. And let's see if he's able to close it.
Oh, yeah. There's the breakaway. Oh, there's the red flag. Okay, B-Boy. Advantage. Not quite got the life lead yet. Still has to watch out. Ooh, that must have been a shadow kick attempt. Oh, let's just get clipped now. Yep, armor break too. Oh, but the dark! Uh-oh, crushing blow.
Make it count. Don't repeat history, please. Boom. Restand? Yeah, it wouldn't be Flet without a restand. And he gets the chip on the end. What does B-Boy do? Back against the wall, and it's the meaty down 1 taking the picture. Doesn't have an opportunity to do a finishing move because the camera already did it, but you know what, Flet, he's going to be, I think, the biggest sigh of relief after that one, because his 2 losses were quite ugly losses, and probably the kind of losses that he needed to get over sharpish because of how things were going. I'm glad for his sake he was able to turn it around, but B-Boy, you know, we could see him a little bit later on.
No, B-Boy really... B-Boy made him work for that one. Like, B-Boy was very close to being able to take that set, so huge GG's to B-Boy in that situation. It's a shame to see him drop down to losers round 1, but, you know, it happens in the Invitationals, right? Like, half of our bracket has to go down there, and how many times we've seen players go down to losers round 1 and they run it all the way back to top 4, they get some money, and beyond a lot of the time as well. So definitely still got high hopes for B-Boy, but it is Flet that's going to be advancing through. And I think just a really good example of a player that, you know, that is going to happen to you sometimes. You are going to have those losses that really catch you off guard, and like you said, very ugly losses, right? In a fashion that many of us will get very frustrated to lose in. But part of being a competitive player is being able to stay composed when that happens, being able to shake it off and play the rest of the set and forget about it. You know, it's a necessary skill that you absolutely need. Update off stream. Looks like Mercer versus Psycho came down to a game 5 in a nail biter of a set, I can imagine. But our winners round 2 games are secured. So Dangos versus Nivek will be our first match, and then Blood Eyes versus Flet to follow. So, you know, it's taken a bit longer than usual, but the important thing is we're here now. Our 2 next winners round games are ready to go after this short break. But before we do get to them, we are going to go to a few minutes break to get this lobby ready, to get these players ready to start playing. But, you know, before we do that, I do want to remind those of you watching, as always, that this is a free-to-enter weekly tournament series. You go to compete.playstation.com, the open series. You can still compete right up until the end of the year. There's still plenty of cups to get involved in. We'd love to see you play these and join us and be on these streams. But for now, we're going to go to that break and get these next games sorted. So we'll see you in a few minutes.
The PS4 Tournament's Open Series has been full of fantastic finishes, killer combos, and a friendship or two.
Give us that nice little happy dance, the robot.
We've seen promising new players and household names continue to dominate.
A mighty Unjust secures win number 20.
Massive
weapon, he's dead.
Do not miss a single moment of the PS4 Tournament's Open Series monthly finals. This is the MK11 character breakdown, Baraka. Baraka makes his return to Mortal Kombat in MK11, and it is one of his absolute strongest appearances in the history of the series, if we're talking gameplay. But if we're talking variations, there's a little something for everyone here. Marauder is the most straightforward, but also the most heavy-hitting. You can extend some of your normal attacks to go a little bit further using Baraka's blades, which is good for sneaky little jump-ins. However, the main tool here is Gutted, a full combo launcher that can be confirmed off pretty much any string that you have. On its own, it does good damage and even has a massive damage crushing blow attached, but on Amplify will always combo into some of the highest practical combo damage in the entire game. Bone Picker is where grabs and control come into play. First of all, Baraka gets a command grab that keeps the opponent on their toes, but it also works really well as a combo ender and can convert off jump kicks, and even your crushing blow forward 4/4 string, because the command grab reaches far enough. But it's not just a command grab we get here, because we gain a spine burst special as well, which not only has a massive hitbox on it, acting as a near perfect anti-air, but it launches in the corner for meterless combo potential. This variation is scary up close thanks to the command grab, but establishes complete control of the air thanks to Spine Burst. Scary in the right hands. Finally, Berserker. The blade charge is fast, advancing, and great to end combos with. But the blade charge is also Baraka's armor break attack, and if it breaks armor, let me tell you, it hurts. Berserker gains the Barakazerker, which hits multiple times, does fantastic grounded damage, and it can be amplified for more damage still. Just watch out because it does have a flawless blockable gap in it. The final move Berserker gains is the Leg Kebab, a low hitting attack that restands the opponent on regular hit, and it knocks down for more damage on amplify. The main thing is that it hits as a low attack, so in strings he has that can go overhead, Leg Kebab offers a mix-up. Baraka has a solid projectile in Blade Spark, crushing blow throws off both directions, fast buttons with decent range, and a heavy hitting kit for those that want to chew through the competition. This is the MK11 character breakdown, Shiva. One of the newer characters to grace the title, this Shokan Queen is a brawler through and through, with varying offensive options depending on the variation you've selected.
Ooh, savage. Gnarly, dude.
Smash and Grab is the variation that you've probably fought against the most, and it's because of the air stomp. This one, though, can be steered in front or behind, which makes it a lot harder to deal with if it's used in tricky situations to begin with, especially as 3 of these in a row lets the Amplify crushing blow. Ouch! Additionally, she has a ground pound that forces the opponent to react, and an anti-air grab that launches and combos on Amplify. Smash and Grab is irritating at range, but it has great answers for you jumping in, which she can force out efficiently. Deadly Dragon is the variation that focuses on Shiva's shield. With it, she can do the following. Dragon Charge is a forward-moving special that, on Amplify, will fully launch the opponent for a combo. You've just hit a button up close, throw this on the end, and the combo is yours. Shield Toss replaces her Universal Fireball to be a mid-hitting projectile that can be delayed by holding the square input. Delay it to power it up by a small amount. Spinning Dragon is a neat special for use at the end of combos that, when amplified 3 times, will crushing blow for big damage indeed. Deadly Dragon is a straightforward variation that is built for one thing, and one thing only: combos. Mean Queen is where the mix-ups apply. She has a low scoop attack and an overhead grab. The thing is, Shiva has attacks that can go overhead in her base kit, so in this variation, it's all about the low scoop and overhead grab to mix the opponent up at these key moments to keep them guessing which way you're going to go. The added bonus of Mean Queen is the Death March, which is a running stance that Shiva can do a number of different kick attacks from. The main one is a full combo launcher, for when the opponent gets hit by one of your mix-ups. Mean Queen is a complete blender at close range, so avoid her at all costs if you're on the defensive. All 3 variations change Shiva's toolset, but all 3 of them are sure to give you an edge in the realm of combat.
Welcome back, everyone, to the PS4 Tournament's MK11 Open Series Invitational. My name's Ketchup, joined by Mustard, as always, and for our first week of EU and CIS in November, we've been off to quite a flying start, I think, because, I mean, unexpected players, unexpected characters, and our next round of winners, Dangus versus Nivek. We've seen Dangus display an incredible spawn But it's not just Dangus that's been able to do that, because Blood Eyes was able to take out Mirko 3-2 with a final change to Spawn, was playing Frost first. We've seen a lot of good gameplay all round, but one hell of a way to start the month, I think.
Yeah, I think Dangus has definitely been my personal favorite to watch so far today, because it was just so unexpected. Dangus is a player that we, going into today, had, in true fashion with a lot of these newer to Open Series faces. We haven't seen in the Open Series, but we've definitely seen in the community. Dangus is one of those kind of like relatively long-standing Russian players, that we remember seeing back in MKX and possibly beyond. Really known for that kind of like big body Kotal Khan kind of, very long limbs, big damage, stuff along those lines. And the last time I'd seen Dangus play in this game was when he was still playing Kotal Khan, which I imagine was some time ago. Because now he's playing Spawn. A lot of those of you in chat have been looking forward to watching him. Saying, keep an eye out. This Spawn is definitely going to be one to watch. Some of you are saying the best Spawn that you've seen. So I definitely went into watching his first game with a lot of expectations, and those expectations were not disappointed, as that was an amazing match we saw. His execution was on point. His general approach to the character is a little bit different to what we've seen, and I think it's different in a good way, and I'm very excited to see him play now. I'm going to try not to be biased, because he is playing against Nivek, who is one of the longest standing kind of like, I suppose, international NetherRealm players, and notice I say NetherRealm, not just Mortal Kombat, because Nivek is a player that has achieved large success in basically every NetherRealm game that has released in this part of the world. This is he's no stranger to world finals. He's no stranger to tense matches and highest caliber opponents, and doing well for himself. He really has stood the test of time, and today still playing this upgraded Jackie, and we haven't seen him in a long time, so it's nice to see him again today. But it is going to be kind of hard to call, as upgraded versus the One is a variation matchup that we've seen a few times, but I don't really know what to think of it. I think it's any character that benefits heavily from people being up close to them, I think does work. Like, for example, this kind of matchup, I imagine we'll see shades of like, the way we'd see that Pro Stunner play the Marauder versus the upgraded. So it was about, I know that you need to come close to me in order to actually do any damage, so I'm just going to walk myself into a position that I can do the most damage, and I'm just going to wait for you to come to me, because you have to do it. I feel like just like the One is going to be a bit similar in that regard, where you have a character like Spawn that does some of, if not the highest practical damage in the game competitively, versus Jackie, who she has to come to you, she can't really lame you out, and she has less health than usual. I think we can see, if that is the style we see played, we could see that be very effective here.
So I just want to give you folks a quick update on just kind of what's going on. We're having to remake the lobby, I believe, because we're getting Dangus in there. And the second, both players are in the lobby, will be good to go. So it shouldn't take too long. Thanks for your patience, as always. And once we have every player in the lobby, we'll be able to start things off. But yeah, as you said, the Spawn versus Jackie matchup, not something that we get to see all that often. But when we have seen it in Open Series, it's a matchup that can be quite unusual, because Spawn's biggest weakness is that whiffing, right? It is when he misses a button, Jackie is exceptionally good at kind of punishing that and just getting in, pouncing, and that can sometimes be the round, because that's just where the plethora of offense comes from. Whereas, as we've seen, especially recently in Open Series, Spawn's weaknesses may be his recovery and his whiff punish ability, but if you're a really good Spawn player, you're not going to be whiffing all that much. You're going to be sticking out buttons at a range they work.
I mean,
so
you might
it's
be
always
whiffing,
a tricky
as long as you're whiffing buttons that you don't die for, And the big thing about Dangus is a lot of down one, but it's not like down one when you'd normally see it, right? A lot of people will use those pokes as like almost like turn stealers, but I feel like Dangus uses it as like part of his neutral, right? Kind of like dash down one, instant dash down one, something just to kind of occupy that space. So on block, you're going to be fine. It's down one. And on hit, you can jail it into standing buttons. But if it hits as they just happen to jump or something, then you are going to be... It's one of the few buttons Spawn has that you can actually convert off. And that is a big deal to this variation, because that little conversion can turn into monstrous damage. I don't think any character in the game is looking to get consistently as much damage for catching a poke as they jump back as Spawn manages to. It's quite terrifying. But I'm very impressed to see it. I am now on my way back into the lobby, and hopefully we can start the game as soon as possible.
Well,
Thank you so much
tell
for
you
being
what.
patient with us, everyone. We appreciate it.
As soon as you're in, I'll be joining as well. Because I'm about to... Hey, there it is! I got my invite. And we should be good to jump in. Fingers crossed. But a matchup that we've been looking forward to. I've been really excited to just see Dangus's spawn again, because I've been really impressed. I didn't really know what to make after that first match against Mercer, and then every other match he played was like, okay.
Oh, you mean like literally the
day.
first match of the set?
The
As in
first
the
match
only
they
one he
played.
lost.
The first match they played, was a matchup that we just didn't really get to see anything, did we? And then in the matchups that he won, it was like a much more creative and open, and a lot of use of cancels and stuff like that. But I'm in the lobby now. So
But not straight away. That's
be
what
good
I
to
liked
go.
about what we saw from Dangus. Like, he would go for, like, cape cancels and stuff like that, which is a bit kind of like, you know, not really airtight on paper. But when you've done so much... And with any of those kind of, like, gimmicks, where, for example, like, Sindel going for, like, scream cancel. Sorry, I just leaned back and my entire monitor shook, so everything was just wobbling around. Any of those, like, kind of fake cancels, when you do them in tandem with real options, that's what's going to keep your opponent on their toes. You know, spawns forward 4 by itself, the whole string is safe, there's no gap, there's no force block ability, but it ends point blank, right? So not a great position for him to be in. So if your opponent is waiting for you to finish the string, and boom, you do an instant cape cancel, they'll be like, oh, hang on a minute, wait, what? You didn't finish the string, and now you're at a further away distance, and you're probably not getting punished. That's where it gets really useful. And now we're just waiting on Dangus to join the lobby, and we should be good. I want to say as well, just take a second, you know, while we just wait for both players to join. You know, we are on the PlayStation Twitch right now. I don't know, if, you know, just in case there are any of you out there that are kind of like newer Mortal Kombat viewers, you're hearing us use the terminology 1, 2, 3, 4 a lot, and you might be thinking to yourself, why are they just talking about numbers? It is basically just a universal terminology for the attack buttons in the game. So front punch, back punch, front kick, you know, back kick. It's a way that no matter what kind of control method you're using, those buttons will always be the same. So, you know, on a PlayStation pad, square is 1, triangle is 2.
Let me
X
demonstrate.
Is 3.
Tell you
and
what,
circle is 4.
while
You
we've got
pad.
this time, it's going to be mirrored because I'm looking at my camera, so try and stay with me, right? But this is the pad, right? I don't need to tell you that. Let's see if I can do this. 1, 2, 3, which I'm in the way because this is really tricky. I'm pressing X, cross, right? And then 4 is circle. So it's square is 1, triangle is 2, cross or X is 3, whatever you call it yourselves, and circle is 4.
Yeah, it's basically just a way of no matter what control method you're using,
Shouts to
those
my Mortal
buttons,
Kombat life, by the way.
terminology-wise, those be the same. Yeah, that is safe.
I've had that for years since
So, like,
MKX, mate.
So like a down 2 is like a crouching triangle, you know, like forward 2 is forward triangle, you know, input. So it's just a way to make it easier to, you know, refer to what attacks we're talking about.
So I believe we're still waiting for Dangus to join the lobby, so I'm not quite sure what's going on with it. In the meantime, we could move on to the next match. I believe that is being discussed. We might be doing that. If not, we'll as soon as he's ready, I say ready, as soon as we're able to get him into the lobby. Unfortunately, some lobby issues, they do just happen, and it's all about how you kind of recover from it and just move on. We might have to go into the next matchup, and hopefully, you know, we'll try and get some of it on stream, because I do want to see Dangus in action, especially after how he's impressed us in round 1. But if we're unable to get him in for now, rather than you staring at just me and Jake,
I mean,
for
if
however
Dangus
long this is
is
going to take.
If Dangus is the only player, like everything else is in the lobby. Like Nevek's here, we're here, all the spectators are here that we normally have as like backup. Like everything is in the lobby. It's just Dangus that can't join. So I would imagine that it's something his end, whether it's a connection, whether it's whatever can block, you know, in the world of online gaming. So we are going to move on to our next match. And hope that by the time this one is over, Dangus has been able to figure out why he can't join and what's going on, and then we can get his batch on stream. But we'll have to wait and see what the call is on that. But for now, we are actually going to move on to the next game. So we are going to go to Flet versus Blood Eyes. So basically, this is something that I imagine it will be Frost versus Johnny Cage, because Frost doesn't actually do that bad versus Johnny, especially Arctic Anarchy. So I imagine that will be the matchup we see for the most part. But it'll be very footsies based, right? This is a matchup where both characters, we're looking at long limbs, we're looking at strong long range pokes, and we're looking at kind of like a decent jump range projectile game. You know, they're two characters that are very similar in that regard. Frost has the dive bomb, so she has the ability to make her jumps a lot more complicated. But then Johnny Cage has faster recovery. So that's kind of the trade-off, right? It's like they're both playing from a similar range, but not with exactly the same strengths, but at the very least, they're going to be swinging from a lot longer range than you might expect. Traditional footsies.
So we've got Blood Eyes in the lobby, so as soon as Flet is here, we should be absolutely... And I've said that a bunch, but when Flet joins, we actually will start. Apologies for the delay, everybody. But fingers crossed, we should be there soon.
Flet is here, so the lobby is finally ready. Flet
Yes.
and Blood Eyes are both here. So
Excellent.
that's a good start. that's a good sign. Now, Johnny Cage versus Frost, a matchup we haven't seen in quite some time, actually, but personally one that I enjoy. It really is a good footsies matchup, you know, like, sometimes you just get characters that are just, like, you can see them kind of, like, dancing at that kind of, like, maximum range that they're all looking for, and this is definitely one of those matchups. I like it a lot.
I believe we're just waiting for Blood Eyes to un-AFK, and then we should start what is likely to be Frost versus Cage, but as we were, I think, all surprised by... was that final game versus Mirko when it was Spawn. I did not even know that Blood Eyes actually played Spawn, so least of all to that caliber, that was an incredible display. It's been a good day for Spawn fans, I think. If you like Spawn in MK11, then look no further than today's Open Series, but it will be Johnny Cage and Blood Eyes going into a different character, perhaps. I'm curious. No, it's Frost. All right, you baited us. I respect it. But yeah,
I mean, to be honest, like,
Cage.
we've seen Spawn from Blood Eyes today, so I can only imagine what other characters he has up his sleeve. But I would be very surprised if we don't at least see the Spawn, the Frost started with in the sets. So we'll go from there, I suppose. It is going to be at least this for game number 1.
Here we go. Blood Eyes pulling off what I think result-wise alone is the upset by defeating Mirko in the final round of the final game they played in winner's side. And there's Flet, who's been more than one appearance in the Open Series, but this is some absolutely impeccable Frost play from Blood Eyes all day long, so I'm very curious how this matchup's going to go. The ranged game, Blood Eyes does have options.
We're going to see a very different neutral as opposed to the Mirko match before, though, where you didn't really get the chance to see Blood Eyes go for any of these kind of like neutral projectiles, where against Scorpion it's going to be just an easy reaction. Johnny Cage not quite got the same tools against him, so you are seeing the more kind of traditional Frost neutral with
Oh, and he gets it!
out here. But you don't get
Cage,
out here. That's the downside. Because he was airborne, you don't get the full launch.
Ugh, I mean, it didn't even really matter that much. Only one hit away from taking him out. The combo wasn't guaranteed at the end, but at least he was able to get some solid damage that only needed one single hit after that one. The catch on the low is going to allow Flet to get something. The immediate grab. Side switch. Blood Eyes not shy of taking this full screen and playing that ranged game. If you do manage to get a life lead here, Frost has got ranged options of her own, actually. Looks like she's able to trade favorably. I mean, I haven't even touched on the fact that Flet is playing outtake, and I think there's a strong reason for that. Now, those arcing force balls, they do give you quite the edge from full screen, but the break. Okay, good damage there for Blood Eyes. Flet, the full screen game, but I don't think he's going to be content playing in it. With no breakaway, he's got to be careful. Escape failed. I mean, he tried to break. Doesn't really matter against Johnny Cage, though, does the escape fail.
Especially and even getting hit by the throw, like it pushes you back to a range that you kind of don't mind playing at a lot of the time. But this is what I'm talking about, right? Look at the range they're playing, and that's a range you're safe to do it. And Blood Eyes, I really like the way he's playing this neutral. Really calculated, like max range down 4. Not coming back to whiff punish dive bomb. Last frames. Oh no, never mind. Can't get the jail.
Whiff punish,
but too far. Keeps it safe.
I was
Seeing
thinking
Flair having to
maybe.
be careful, really having to respect the straight auger. Oh,
Exact
good
trade. Oh, that's a trade you want. Blood Eyes takes the first game, and the second Frost gets that fatal blow. I mean, it's going to make that full screen game even more devastating, isn't it? Because you've got the drill, you've got the regular projectile, you've got the ranged buttons, but then you have this full screen fatal blow that starts up almost instantly. Blood Eyes had to be pretty comfortable with the end of that round, I think.
I mean, I feel like Johnny Cage, as good as Johnny Cage has always been, even back like pre-Aftermath, where he was like undeniably top 5, and he was just like covered in plus frames and all this, you know, Rising Star was even more annoying. To be honest, like, even back then, I kind of feel like Frost could still compete, you know? We are seeing Flet go to outtake, you know, so we are seeing, you know, a slightly different style of Johnny coming through now. But still at the same time, like, I feel like Frost has always been able to fight Johnny Cage because of her range. Like, the range she wants to play at to be at her best is also the range that Johnny Cage is looking to play at. So you find yourself constantly fighting for that kind of, like, long-range dominance, but in a way that she's totally okay to do. And then you throw Arctic Anarchy on top of it, and you've got, like, better projectiles, the good counterpoke option, the dive bomb, like, it all kind of works out in this matchup.
Oh, and there's that spot though. Almost instantly. Love those decisions. You just know that Frost, she has got a fast and decent mid. If she wants to use it, that does make the flawless block a bit of an attractive option. However, Blood Eyes able to definitely equalize the health, sticks out that button. Now she can be whiff punished on some of them. She has got range, but speed is not something that she has compared to a lot of other characters. You have to make sure you're always putting yourself at that magic range. But Blood Eyes is used to it at this point. Frost specialist. Similar to a spawn. Oh, wait a minute.
First time we see the core activation. Do you get close enough? No. Self-damage? Yeah, there it is.
Only
One of the more unorthodox moves in the game. Situational, but from that kind of distance, not really going to achieve too much, unfortunately. At this point, Blood Eyes has to be careful for last breath. Outtake. Especially now that bar's come back. It's going to be able to plow through this quite easily. Oh, tries to be 2+ frames. I respect it.
Hang on a minute.
No, big jump! Oh, and Blood Eyes finds the jump kick into fatal blow for the round. Perfect play. That is going to do more than enough damage to kill. That was clutch. Perfect timing.
I mean, had to jump at that exact moment, at that exact time. The arcing force balls made that jump even less likely to work, yet somehow Blood Eyes finds a way. Empty jumps because he doesn't want to get immediately trip guarded by that long-ranging low. That's exactly what Flet is looking for when he's standing at outside of jump distance. Another empty jump. Not just looking for the trip guard counter, but also not allowing a flawless block out the air too. However, chippy chip, piece by piece, really. The range of Frost. Another whiff punish, but only a jump kick could definitely be worse. And here comes Flet, pushing into the corner. Wow, that uppercut. A lot of damage on its own. Sticking out those fast mids. Really wants to catch you, Preston, with no defensive bar. Flet does not want to get launched right now. Looking for the trip guard. Counter hit. Uh-oh. Throw punish, which means the side switch is guaranteed.
Yeah, that was definitely a punish where you're foregoing damage for positioning, because like Arctic Kaneki with corner can kill absolutely. And that's exactly what we're going to see as Blood Eyes. And just to take another game. That's a 2-0 lead. This is not a bad way of starting out here. Blood Eyes, what a debut. You wouldn't think this is Blood Eyes' first Open Series stream appearance, but
I mean, has he? The thing is, I'm sure I recognize Blood Eyes' name. Like, I've seen him in Open Series before, so I wonder. I always wonder with players of this caliber, I just can't realistically, and I could be wrong. I could always be wrong. But I just can't see it as a situation of Blood Eyes enters regularly and just doesn't make it. Not with this level of play. Not with this degree of a character that not everyone knows the ins and outs of. He's able to nail the variation in particular. Clearly has other characters as well. Where's Blood Eyes been all this time? You know, surely he couldn't have just not made it.
There is always a chance that players, like, they've been entering, they just... Because the thing is, especially by now, when we're, like, going into the 6th month, there are a lot of players that are trying to play, and, you know, they're playing it every week, but, like, they'll get one loss, and that one loss stops them from making it to the stream. You know, like, it's hard to make... It's hard to even make it to the Invitational top 8. You know what I mean? Like, even one loss can mean you're not going to do it. Because it's a Swiss tournament, so you play someone that has your record at all points. So at the start, it's pretty much random, right? You play 0, everyone's 0-0, anyone plays whoever. Then it's you play someone who's 1-0, then 2-0, and you kind of have to go through with a bit of a winning streak just to make it to Tuesday. It definitely is easier said than done, for sure.
However, Blood Eyes working on what could be a 3-0 here. Looks like Flet has a thing or two to say about it. Like he's going to take this first round. Wow, ducks the uppercut, but doesn't really get any damage, which does allow Blood Eyes back into this match. Uh-oh. Hang on a minute. Oh, again! No! That's going to get rid.
Has got that twice in the same tournament.
And he knows he can go in and combo because what the cinematics do, they get rid of projectiles and hazards. That's the whole string rock. Oh, the immediate clutch breakaway. Punish! Oh, lordy lord. Even if that fatal blow might not have been necessary, look, it won the round, who cares? Let's just take it for what it is. Blood Eyes bringing himself onto match point. Oh my god, the way he's played all day long. So good. Frost, never counter out.
Blood Eyes is on the verge of a 3-0 sweep over Flet. We're just talking upsets over upsets. Taking out Mirko in the first round, then Flet. Taking out these well-established international players just one at a time, like it's nothing.
Ooh. At this rate, might be evening things up. However, the drill constantly be used. If you're going to try and flawless block, drill tries to deal with that somewhat. The counter poke again baits you into a mid and you take the bait. And here comes the amp just to push at decent range, allowing the down 4 to play. Fatal blow used to close out round 1, so Blood Eyes isn't going to have the same level one. Hang on a minute.
Oh, yep, getting hit turns it off, unfortunately.
Indeed.
Oh, hang on. Yep, didn't have the bar to turn that into anything. I respect it.
Now, what's this going to be? Fatal blow ready for Johnny Cage. If you get within button...
Oh, the counter hit! The cat and the armor break. Ooh, no, just in time. Oh, and Blood Eyes spin into the God. Ooh, Blood Eyes with some of the cleanest Frost play I've seen in a long time. Pretty much walks his way to winners finals over Flet 3-0. Good lord. That was actually insanely good. That counter hit launch went for the armor break as well, but Flet with the awareness was able to break away in advance, but it did force the breakaway into the meaty. What a play there. And it's just even down to like the awareness. Like how much are we seeing Blood Eyes? Everywhere there's a force block gap. We're 9 times out of 10 seeing the Auger to plug it. And this is why Arctic Anarchy is so good. Like your damage might be lower across the board than like the Ice Machine. You might not have like the pressure and setup of like Frostbite, sure. But it's the neutral. The buttons are safer. The counter poking is more dangerous. The damage hit for hit is good. You know what I mean? Like the Auger by itself is just a damn good projectile, which helps go in tandem with her like, you know, shoulder cannons or the mortar. Like it's so good. And in the hands of someone like Blood Eyes, who can really use it all to its optimal amount, such a treat to watch. And I'm really pleased to say that Blood Eyes winners finals to fight the winner of Dangus versus Nevek. But I do want to give a small update. As we are unfortunately having some time issues today, Dangus and Nevek, they continued to have connection issues. We have had to run Dangus versus Nevek off stream, so we are as disappointed to hear that as I'm sure you are. We would love to have seen Dangus versus Nevek on stream, but we're talking it's a competitive event, there is money on the line, there were connection problems, and they were able to connect to each other eventually off stream. So they are just going to play that match by themselves, and we will see the winner versus Blood Eyes, and we will cross our fingers and hope that there are no more connection issues between those players today. But you know, it is what it is. Sometimes this does happen. You know, the online for MK11, like the netcode is incredible, and it does help us kind of facilitate these online tournaments. But at the end of the day, internet is the internet, and sometimes it is just going to give you some issues, and today is one of those examples. So that match is going to be off stream. It is already underway, so we will be able to find out who will be in our winners finals to face Blood Eyes very soon. But while we find out who that is going to be, we are going to go to another short break while we figure that out. And then, you know, fingers crossed, it should be smooth sailing the rest of the day, and we should continue business as usual. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you in a few minutes after this break where winners finals will commence.
The PS4 Tournament's Open Series has been full of fantastic finishes, killer combos, and a friendship or two.
Give us that nice little happy dance, the robot.
We've seen promising new players and household names continue to dominate.
A mighty unjust secures win number 20. Massive whip and he's
my God. Do not miss a single moment of the PS4 Tournament's Open Series monthly finals. This is the Mortal Kombat character breakdown for Cassie.
Cassie Cage.
One of the more recent additions to MK's Special Forces and daughter of Sonya Blade and Johnny Cage. Definitely playing like more of her father in MK11, she boasts a strong grounded game and long-range buttons overall.
No, but a punish, there it is.
Cassie is incredible at keeping opponents honest. She has some dangerous buttons in her back 2 as a long-range confirmable mid, and forward 4 for a fast confirmable mid. Her strong mids make it hard for opponents to disrespect her range and can have people feeling locked down. Her 2 main competitive variations cater to this in their own ways. Digital Soldier takes an already strong grounded Cassie and adds a reliable projectile in kneecapping. A mid shot that knocks opponents down for a chunk of damage, and due to Cassie crouching down, can be used to win zoning wars. This can also be amplified as a launcher that knocks opponents into the air mid-screen. You also gain Air Akimbo as an airborne attack, and Flippin' Out for an acrobatic leap that can be used to make things difficult to punish. Yas Queen takes Cassie in more of a buttons-focused direction, foregoing Digital Soldier's projectile game and focusing on confirming into the bubble for a stun, allowing combos anywhere with unbreakable possibilities, and the shoulder charge for fast whiff punishes and a dangerous presence when paired with the range of her back 2.
Play it out, Kano.
This variation is definitely for opponents who want to remain at a close enough range to threaten combos and damage, but not far enough away that your opponents will want to come to you. Cassie requires patience to fully utilize, but once mastered, can have opponents feeling stuck on a grid, whether they're being checked for moving in your space or kept at arm's reach with projectiles and max range buttons and anti-airs. Definitely a strong pick for players not wanting to annihilate life bars, but to do it steadily, one hit at a time. This is the Mortal Kombat character breakdown for Kano, the leader of the Black Dragon clan, and isn't afraid to fight dirty to secure the win, as is reflected in his gameplay. Kano is a solid character with a disrespectful and aggressive playstyle across all of his variations. It's all about finding which style suits you the best. Universally, Kano only has a few special moves, Knife Toss and Black Dragon Ball. However, the Black Dragon Ball can be done in the air and has a different attack follow-up whether you amp it on the ground or in the air, making it a quick check for opponents that need to respect it. Ripper is the main variation that sees play and has scary offensive tools due to the command grab and extended strings. The command grab gives Kano powerful mix-ups, and the extended strings add more damage to his overhead and turns his standing 2-4 string into a launcher. This variation is for the player that wants to shred their opponent with mix-ups. Dirtbag is unorthodox but powerful in the hands of a skilled player. This variation gains Acid Toss and Molotov Cocktail, which synergize well together as acid-covered players get stunned if they stand in the Molotov flames. And Veggie Mighty, a buff which gives a hit of projectile armor to his Black Dragon Ball. The game plan for Dirtbag is to counter zone with Veggie Mighty and enforce pressure with the acid, particularly around amplified acid, which creates flames near the opponent which can be deadly in the corner for unavoidable damage. Ratbag is the most traditional Kano, gaining Snake Bite, a strong launcher, and Optic Blast, a mid-projectile that replaces Knife Toss and does more damage with a counter-hit crushing blow. This variation plays around Kano's long-range buttons and is particularly good for whiff punishing and conversions. Kano is capable of being played in multiple ways, and his universal buttons and crushing blows all cater to them well. It's about trying them all to find which one fits you the best to make use of this Black Dragon scumbag.
Welcome back, everybody, and this is, as always, the PS4 Tournament's MK11 Open Series Invitational. Quick update. So while the break has been taking place, Bangus and Nivek have been playing their winner's side matchup off stream to determine who's going to be in winners finals. Unfortunate connection issues on Dangus' side just meant he couldn't join our lobby. So, for the sake of the tournament, they played on. Nivek was able to defeat Dangus 3-1. So Dangus will be playing off stream against Mirko to see if he can make it into top 4. But it does mean now that our winners finals is actually ready to go, which will be Blood Eyes and Nivek, probably upgraded versus Frost, I can only assume, after Blood Eyes' dominant performance versus Flet. And now we have those winner's side matches decided. And now losers' side brackets can take place, which can hopefully bring us into our top 4. So, I think we're good to go. Both players are in this lobby. I do want to extend, again, big thank you to everyone tuning in today. There have been some delays in audio and stuff like that. We do appreciate your patience with us. But I think our winner's side matchup in the winners' finals should be good to go right now. As soon as these players are AFK, we'll be good to dive in.
Now, Blood Eyes, Nivek, I am imagining it could be upgraded versus Frost, but I think it really depends on what other characters Blood Eyes might have, because the weird thing about upgraded versus Frost is kind of not amazing at intercepting upgraded, which is very strange, because you look at someone like Frost and she has one of the best anti-airs in the game by far, right? That down 3, one of the best single buttons. But it doesn't really work against upgraded, and the reason for that is her air shrapnel hits so low to the ground that it actually clips the down 3. Even though she goes so low down, it still hits her, and she obviously gets a full combo for it. It's kind of hard to use her traditional tools because the threat of leap. But, you know, Arctic Anarchy might have a few more options. We're not sure. I think it might depend. We are going to see the Arctic Anarchy at the start at the very least, as Blood Eyes really been able to put in some serious work with this character today. We've only seen the swap away once to spawn for one single match, and that was enough to work as well. So Blood Eyes, we're going to talk at length about this Frost and how dangerous it is, but for all we know, there are many other potential choices that could be good as well.
It's always good to be able to surprise people with other picks, and when they're clearly as capable as even the spawn was. It's a good situation for him, but it looks like we're now jumping into our first matchup. Frost versus Jackie. I mean, it's not a matchup that you see every day, but it will once more be the Arctic Anarchy. So everything that Blood Eyes has been kind of dominantly winning with so far. But the question is, always in open series, how does it fare versus upgraded? Because here we go. This is something that Nivek has been playing upgraded for a long time. And it depends on whether Frost, she hasn't got the fastest buttons in the world, and that can sometimes be a bit of a hindrance against Jackie, can't it?
I mean, what she's normally amazing at, upgraded doesn't have to deal with it as much. But, you know, we have seen some amazing things from Blood Eyes today, so I'm not going to count that possibility for us to be surprised, see some new approaches.
Now, the immediate use of the mortar.
Yeah.
That mortar is immediately used to say, nope.
Yeah, but I like the way that back though, it was straight shot into the mortar. Because the straight shot on Rift, you'd normally think, okay, now it's time to leap, but that's what we'd see stop. However, already back to the wall here, as Blood Eyes Nivek tried to pick up, but turns it into a meaty. That's a lot of damage out of nowhere. Oh no.
And the pressure is real. That's one thing that Frost doesn't have is lightning fast buttons. Always said to be, you know, the two weaknesses of Frost. The floors block sometimes, and in other instances, the fact that while she has range, she doesn't have a lot of speed. And against upgraded, when she's leaping all over the place and she's constantly pressuring you and staggering that offense, poking out can be really difficult.
That's the unfortunate side of it, though. Like, Arctic Anarchy can plug the floor's block gaps thanks to the Auger shot, but doesn't do anything for the speed of your buttons. And yeah, it was clean. Oh, trust, we're punished as Nivek, but a little bit too late.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but doesn't Frost have like a bit of a slower down one compared to some characters as well?
I mean, her fastest button is definitely slower than not quite like the end of the world, but it's definitely not quite the same.
What? Wow.
But the good thing about like her down one, actually, like, both pokes, like her down one has a longer range than a lot of down ones, and her down 3 is like a flawless anti-air. So it's not like they're bad pokes, they're just not super fast.
Not conventional either. However, the poke game, the corner repositioning, if you're able to keep Nivek in the corner, I mean, it will massively shut down the game, but tries to anti-out the down 3 just immediately clipped, making a hard call out on something. But it wasn't that. Nivek takes the first game.
I mean, like, that was a mid that just connected standing with no counter hit or anything, so my assumption is either a duck on wake up, expecting a grab to finish off, or maybe like a jump. Or like a mistimed meaty, perhaps, trying to sneak your way over the top, but won't matter. Nivek And we have to remember that this is how Nivek won the first match we saw him in today, against Psycho. Was that was like the main thing. It's just well-timed BTs. A lot of Nivek's opponents today are consistently trying to do something that isn't block on wake up, and Nivek is able to consistently chew them up for it. Which, Jakishi's got the buttons for it, and Nivek's got the timing to make it work. But it's just one game. Yeah, we're still looking first to 3 here in this winners finals.
We can see the importance of the screen space, though. The moment Blood Eyes had essentially the corner positioning on Nivek instead. Okay. So I am curious. Nivek just won this matchup off stream against Dangus. Again, Dangus was having connection issues, was unable to join the lobby. So for the sake of players being able to play, this is money on the line. This is a tournament at the end of the day. They did play off stream, but this is a matchup that Nivek has just won against an incredibly good Spawn. So I am curious to see if this is the skeleton key.
Nivek won that set 3-1, so it wasn't a complete, sweep, but it was definitely not closest either.
Ooh, Blood Eyes plays quite a fast Spawn. The ranged game is good, but the movement, a major part in this. Nivek tries to interrupt the projectiles. There's the immediate catch, keeping things piece by piece. Not able to break any of it either so far. Ooh.
I actually love the way like Blood Eyes is almost playing this like the Frost neutral, right? Like max range of the longest buttons, and that's like the range he's sitting at. A lot of back ones, a lot of standing threes.
None of it was breaking too, because all of it was on the ground. Everything was on the ground, so Nivek couldn't even break. Flawless victory.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, Blood Eyes. The one. Okay, there's the counter hit. Not a punish, though. A counter hit. Blood Eyes was trying to press there. And now what does he do on defense? The entire round that we just saw was where he was in charge, but now he's on the back foot. What dynamic changes? That's what I'm curious about.
Oh, the whip punish. That was on a down 1-2.
Oh!
Oof. Goodness, not quite a flawless in response, but just about as fast. The problem is Blood Eyes, he's still back to the wall here. This is not where you want to be.
I love the 1-1 because you just know he's going to try and reversal throw. The break. Uses the amp just for the extra damage, just in case he doesn't.
And Nivek's already half dead. Blood Eyes is doing alright so far. Ooh, that's it.
Yes, indeed.
Oh, he's dead. He's dead.
Boom, boom. Charge, bang, bang. Thank you.
Oh, no! Oh, no! He thought he was close enough to the environment.
Yep, he must have thought he was close enough to get the conversion. But you know what? It doesn't matter because he gets it anyway. Remember, the Soul Chamber. There is that interactable that they were standing right in front. Comboing into that gives you kind of a new launch. So in a lot of instances, you can end a combo in that and then get a final hit. In that case, it probably would have been a down 2 or something. But
that's actually the best use that you can do for that Soul Chamber, like launching, like pile of skulls, whatever it is. Because the thing about it is, it's one of those launches where it gives you a preset launch. You know what I mean? Like you throw them into it, and there's that kind of preset timing of they bounce off, and it's like up and down, like a preset gravity. Whatever you hit them with during that gravity is gonna begin to scale it with the gravity you're currently at, right? So if you hit them like 10 times in the air, throw them into it, and then hit them again after them being, launched by it, they'll hit the floor straight away. But you can basically do that anytime. You can, confirm into that really late in any combo, get the flat, 7% or however much it does a decent chunk, and then just uppercut. You don't have to keep it flashy. You can literally do late, super late in a combo, environment launch, decent chunk of damage. Uppercut from it, 140 damage to end something. Loads of characters will be looking for a lot of damage if they end in that. It really is good for everyone in the game. Unfortunately, for Blood Eyes, he did do a little bit too far away, but it didn't matter in the long run, because he was still able to clutch out the game.
Man, this efficient. It just looks, he's staggering that standing 3 so much that it feels almost uncomfortable for Nivek to when he can finally press. Gets the leap just to side switch. The block and the respect from Blood Eyes. He's really not trying to anti-air at all.
He knew. He got greedy. He went for the front throw. He knew.
That is why last time he threw out the 1-1. It is great reward for that front throw. The problem is it becomes quite predictable, doesn't it? Because it's the highest reward.
Of course, it's like a 60% forward throw.
Oh!
So of course you're going for it. Now I'm ducking.
And that's why now the 3-4 is being used as well. Oh dear. Oh, if he did Fatal Blow, that might have worked. Now he gets the forward throw. We're out of the corner though, so no crushing blow here. The hourglass Tarkatan. Now what does Nivek do? Does he leap? No, he gets clipped by the projectile. And as long as Blood Eyes keeps his back to this wall, that grab will be a factor. And he's fighting his way through. Oh, again, he tries to
He likes playing at this longer range and kind of like zip in. Because Spawn still has that incredible forward movement, you know, amazing wave dash.
Lets the mid rock. Probably expecting Nivek to expect the stagger there. Trying to throw out a surprise launch at the last minute, but Nivek's not going to bite. The short hop. Short hop is upgraded. Lethal, because you can short hop overhead, short hop low.
Another throw attempt. That would have killed it, that held.
Now, another ramp.
He's reacting too late. He can punish that fireball, but he's not quite ready.
Oh dear! He can't break! He's dead. No,
oh, he missed the fatal blow. Doesn't matter. Salvage
oh god!
Wait, oh, doesn't matter. He's still alive.
No!
No, he isn't. No, he isn't.
What the hell was
Wait,
that?
What happened?
I don't know. We need to check the tapes. Check the tapes for that one.
I've never seen that brutality before. What? It shot a hole in her, and her head fell off, her arms fell off. Now that was a scramble of a finish, but a scramble that Blood Eyes was able to prevail in. That was quick to being a problem, but wasn't quite. And now Blood Eyes has the advantage. We are sitting 2-1 in the lead over Nivek. So as Blood Eyes really about to take out Mirko, Flet, and Nivek in his winner's path, that is quite the pile of top-level bodies to leave in your wake if you are Blood Eyes right now. Like, that is impressive no matter how you look at it.
I feel like that kind of round, it is one end of the extreme or the other, isn't it? Because for Blood Eyes, that's an extreme high. That was as messy as it was, and he was able to get the win. If you're Nivek, you're probably not feeling all too good about that. Now, he's not going for those full-screen leaps against Spawn. There is those kind of like the long-ranging down two and everything else. There are certain elements that I think he's having to show a lot of respect to, but we're rarely the fullest of full screen. But when we finally are over there, the leap becomes so obvious that Nivek doesn't want to just give himself to it. Now, from that range, I think it's a little bit harder to react to. However, Nivek already closing in that distance.
It's not like Nivek can't leap because you get hit by standing 3 all the time. I feel like Blood Eyes has just done such a good job of like stopping Nivek in the most important moments that is what's made Nivek be nervous. Because it's kind of forcing Nivek to feel like he has to approach on the ground. Speaking of which,
here we go.
Even things out.
Boom, 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 boom. Oh, that's just one bar spent, and it's already 47%. And we had a bar left. Now, we are going to lose the round. So that forward throw crushing blow being spent here does mean that the corner game is going to be not as good, right, in the future round. However, Nivek, happy about that one. One of the most vital crushing blows. Oh, that pickup. All right, I see you, Nivek. I see you. And
again, the whip punish on the down one.
Oh, cleaner.
Take your turn back. Jackie's moving away, but then boom. Oh, but a drop mistake.
He has no bar. Well, no, he doesn't. Before I can even finish saying he has an opportunity, that opportunity was taken away, and that was overwhelming offense from start to finish, and Nivek seizing it. And wait, are we game 5 after that?
I can't believe it's already been 4 completed matches. We are actually on game 5. Like, I'm as surprised as you are. I feel like we only just begun this set, but you know what? I think that's the matchup. Like, I think it's the same thing when we watch Upgraded versus like Marauder, for example. You take Upgraded versus any character that is known for like immense point blank damage, and this is what's going to happen. You're going to have, because the game has to be played at point blank. You know, Jackie needs it to be, and there's only so long you'll keep Upgraded away. So you're going to be playing the game at close range. And that's going to happen. You're going to see the huge damage add up. But it now does put us into game 5, Blood Eyes. Going with Spawn, it's going to be this. Locked in. This combination of Frost and Spawn proving to be quite useful. As now, I mean, are we going to see the former or the latter? Are we going to see the big 50% damage combos from Blood Eyes and Destroy? Or are we going to see Nivek's 30-second rounds? What are we going to get?
This has been an intense... I can't believe that it's almost already over. I genuinely feels like we've only just started this, but going in with the Spawn, the Frost didn't really have an opportunity to do much, but the damage, the ability to just swing hard, making Spawn work out in the range. Oh, the forward 2-3. He must have expected a round start jump.
With punish.
From the fullest of the screen.
I feel like that was Nivek. Like he seemed to leap right as Blood Eyes did the button. So I feel like Blood Eyes did that preemptively, as did Nivek, but they were not looking for the same thing.
Oh,
unsafe. No punish.
Down one to interrupt. No, we're punished again. Blood Eyes. Seems to be a little bit of doubt in these decisions.
Okay, but one thing, we're noticing he's going for down one, and then he's moving back no matter what.
Oh, that was still punishable.
It's definitely not got the same level of confidence he has had with the combo. Ooh, enough to kill. Yeah, Blood Eye's definitely being a little bit more careful here, but it's actually working against him, because he's missing opportunities. Which is rare for him. He's been playing very well through this tournament. Now we get to the end. This kind of final round, final match. Realizations begin to set in, and Nivek been in this position so many times. The whiff again.
Grabs as well. This is very unusual.
I mean, it's not over though. He is still playing the one, so one hit and he's got a life lead.
But more whiffs and just no answer. I think he's getting jumped in and leapt in on when he whiffs that 3-4, but he's a little bit nervous to do it now, to be honest. To meet you down one.
Well, I feel like that's the journey we've taken here. I feel like Blood Eyes.
Oh dear!
And he just spent the bar to cancel the paper. This is all good. Oh, and the ender just the maximum knockdown, the meaty, and that might be enough. Not quite, but this is going to be tough to come back from. Trade, no, doesn't get it. Oh, punish to end all with punishes. Swift donk to the face, and now your head's gone off. I feel like that was the real change in that match, was the way, like, at the start of that matchup, I mean, I say the match, when we saw Spawn versus Jackie onwards, I feel like at the start of that character matchup, we'd see Blood Eyes go for so many perfectly timed anti-air, like, standing threes, that they were anti-airing normal jump-ins, they were anti-airing shrapnels, they were anti-airing the leap, like, and they were working out so many times that it absolutely did stop Nivek from using the leap for a considerable amount of that set. And then by the time we get to the end, Nivek worked out other times to start using the jump, and slowly but surely we started seeing more of the leaps connect, that by the end of the set, those anti-air buttons that were working oh so well for Blood Eyes just were not being used anymore. I feel like that's just the dynamic of the matchup as we went through. The less it worked, the more Blood Eyes was hesitant to do it, which ended up giving Nivek so much more offense because of it. But, you know, that's going to happen in that kind of matchup, unfortunately. But in Game 5, what a Game 5 indeed.
And as a Game 5 gave us time to have the rest of the matches play out in the losers bracket, so we can find out what our top 4 should hopefully be at this point. Either way, we'll have a look at the bracket when we can. We'll find out.
The next match is going to be Flet versus Dangus. We have it confirmed.
Okay, wait. Sorry, I'm so used to checking out the bracket that I didn't check the app in chat. My bad. So yeah, our next matchup will be Flet and Dangus. So, I mean, more of the Spawn in theory. Spawn and Johnny Cage is the likely matchup, and we'll see. I mean, I do very much hope that we can get Dangus in the lobby now. You know, whatever was happening.
My fingers. Yeah,
whatever was happening before. Whatever was happening before, I'm very much hoping that it's now okay, because it would be a huge shame not being able to see more Dangus today, because I mean, he is thoroughly impressed, and I want to see more Spawn, right? I'm biased. I want to see more Spawn. Here's the bracket. It looks like, I mean, so Blood Eyes is waiting in losers finals. So I guess while we're waiting for lobbies and stuff like that, let's have a quick chat about the double elimination bracket, folks. So how does it work? If you're new to Open Series and maybe you're new to Fighting Game Tournament, I do notice a couple of newcomers in chat every now and then. The double elimination bracket basically means 2 tournament lives. So if you're in the winners bracket, and that's just the way it is, Nivek is in grand finals on the winners side. We're now in the losers bracket top 4, as you can see down in the middle, Flet and Dangus. They're fighting for losers finals, where Blood Eyes is currently waiting. Whoever gets into grand finals losers side means they basically will have to reset the bracket before they can win the tournament, essentially putting Nivek in the losers bracket to join them in grand finals, right? So the extreme TLDR of it basically means that if you're on the winner's side of a grand final, you win 1 3 out of 5, that's it, the tournament's over. If you're on the loser side, that 3 out of 5 you win in grand finals will just reset and then bring us into a second 3 out of 5 set. So you'll see it as we go. And the losers bracket also means your lifeline is gone. So if you lose in the losers bracket, you're out of the tournament. And Dangus is here. Yes. I am very
Dangos
excited
has
for this.
emerged. So,
Wonderful.
I feel like it's time for us to put on our biased modes. We could potentially see a Spawn versus Spawn losers finals. And that is something I don't think we will ever see again in open series. So I'm kind of rooting for Dangus here. You know, like no offense, Flet, you know, we love you, bro. We go way back. But I want to see Spawn versus Spawn. And if not, I mean, Flet's played Spawn before, so he's got a pocket Spawn. What is up with the Spawn of the Spawns, dude? I feel like we went through this weird kind of process where Spawn went from like the most requested guest character of all time for like almost 10 years to now he's in the game, and I have never seen so many players, be it casual, be it competitive, you know, friends of mine that don't even play fighting games, like, hang on, Spawn's coming to Mortal Kombat? I'm gonna get Mortal Kombat. You know, like, this massive appealing character that just completely disappeared from competitive for the longest time, you know? I feel like so many people were looking forward to Spawn, yet so little actually stuck with playing him. But now, we're going into the, you know, the beginning of MK11 Ultimate, and now we're seeing Spawn constantly in open series. I don't understand what happened, but I'm happy that it's happened.
What if Spawn gets a bunch of changes in Ultimate too? Because we have so many questions. Like, you know, NetherRealm have confirmed there is a balance patch coming with Ultimate. Combat casts have teased changes as well. With the rise of Spawn that is currently taking place, at least of all of the open series, it does raise the question of Ultimate Spawn. Who knows? Will he be substantially different? I'm very excited for the next couple of weeks, but as we go into this, Dangus whipping the down one, just getting immediately clipped by that low from Flex. Now going to have...
Think about Spawn's down one. You're not with punishing it on reaction, but if you throw out buttons preemptively when you think he's about to move or press, then it will catch, like there, Flet. There's a reason Flet is playing at this range right now. And the same thing back to back. He knows when Dangus is going to run in and threaten that down one. It is definitely something Dangus has been looking to do a lot. And that kind of quick dash up back three on prediction, if Dangus happens to do it, it's going to catch. And that's what we saw. Twice now.
Solid round one here for Fleck. Nothing crazy complicated, and this is a matchup you can expect when it's Johnny Cage versus Spawn. They Spawn these two variations where they've got range options, they've got decent projectile. They actually play a very similar game to each other in this respect. Oh, the movement from Dangus. Flying across the screen. Spawn's wave dash. Absolutely fantastic. Oh, and he gets a jump kick confirmed. Wow, we would jump
25% of that.
That's Fatal Phantasm amplified. You never get used to the damage. Oh, no! Tries to grab, pays the price. Loses the meter too, so you can't break it. Whip punish. I like that. Keep it unbreakable. Especially if we're near the corner. Flet and that fatal blow. You know he's eyeing it up. Oh,
that's it. Again, keep it unbreakable, Dangus. I feel like he spent most of this this game with like no bar, because the second he gets it, he spends it, but he spends it on the right thing, so it makes sense.
Oh, okay.
Oh, good trade for Dangus. Oh, no pickup, however.
Hang
I was
on.
expecting a breakaway, perhaps.
I always...
Oh, no, can't afford to let that happen. Then the wake up buttons. Establish some of that lead. Oh, never mind. Dangus, he has loads of bar, but might not get the chance to spend it at this rate.
Oh, he punishes it!
No. Oh,
Here comes
no, it's going to come down to
unbreakable.
Oh no, he keeps it unbreakable. Okay, I respect it.
No, he keeps it all unbreakable and he saves his meter so he can spend it after the fatal blow. Even this on its own does 50% at least. Oh! And now he can use this to kill. And he do it. Oh no! Potential last chance here. It's a viable game and he's trying to dash his way in. That wasn't interesting, yet definitely understandable use of meter right there. The fact that he doesn't spend an ounce of it to go for the fatal blow means that he went into the next series with 2 bars. You know, right as the next sequence, if you will, was going to take place. He had the 2 bars, he has the 1, he's got the projectiles, he's got everything. That would have been quite the comeback. But Flet, not panicking, understanding that, look, if I get hit by a grab in the corner, it's going to do damage. You go against Spawn knowing that damage is coming. But didn't quite work out for him.
It was the perfect time for Dangus to find it, because like he didn't look for the throw on like his own offense. He was like, look, I'm going to look for something to punish, and I'm going to punish it with a throw. And you have to remember, if you're in the middle of whipping a throw, so like if your arms are like out and you're in that kind of state, it's a punish. So you're not going to be able to tech throws like that. So if you duck a throw, you can punish with a throw. In that instance, it's a crushing blow. And Dangus, he was left with a couple of opportunities there. It was, do I launch him and give him the breakaway mind game to perhaps maybe armor break? And then if I don't armor break, I just do damage. If he does go for the breakaway, he's got no defensive bar and now I can kill him with a hit. Or do you just go straight into the unbreakable fatal blow outright and then play around the breakaway with 2 bars later? I think it was a difficult decision. It was a full comeback to make, but I understand. However, missed punish and Flet with another missed input. Quite good for camera.
And sticking out that string just in case. Oh, walks into more buttons. Oh, gets a neutral duck, but only a down 1 to punish. That could have been so much more. Looks like Dangus has been having quite the ranged trouble. Very rarely in that effective distance. You know, Flair, he plays Spawn himself. He does actually play the 1. We've seen him play the 1 in Open Series, so more than aware of what ranges to stay far away from. Let's try to go for the down 2.
He was fishing for something big there. Throw tech. The weird thing about Spawn's throw tech is it takes his cape a little bit of time to go back to normal, so it kind of masks his next button. Oh, hang on. Oh, yeah, no breakaway. Oh, he does it late, does Flair. Okay. Oh! Another throw. Really wanted to bring that one back, but Flair not having it.
Round 2.
That would be the first round. Fleck getting clipped by that back 1. Gonna go for some knockdown here. The 1's damage can very much expand in the corner. The big thing is those double float combos in the corner. You get double jump 3. Punish!
Yeah, it's a punish, the knowledge.
And the side
Standing
switch.
3-4, yep, doesn't gel you into blocking the fireball.
Now Dangus has no meter. He gets his crushing blow forward throw now. He actually can't really get as much reward. However, saying that, the second he builds himself up that 1 bar, it's enough. And he's fighting his way up. Doesn't want to become too predictable. Let's just look for the button if he's worried about it. Fatal blow. 1 touch now can win the round, but he has to find it. And it looks like at this rate, he's not going to. Flet takes another game. And I've loved his patience. You can tell, though, Flet, a Spawn player himself, a player that knows the matchup, and above all else, it has been the range he's been sitting himself at that is just doing so well for him. He's always just out of range of Spawn's buttons. His projectile game is more crisp. And even when he is close, he has a good sixth sense for, you know, when the grabs are coming out or the meaties. It's
So
just when you
this-
play the character, it's good to have that knowledge, isn't it?
And this goes back to us talking about Spawn's kind of place in the game, where he is incredibly strong in terms of damage and range and, you know, utility. Crushing blows are good. But one thing he is definitely, I would say his absolute biggest weakness is that whiff punish ability. He has a lot of recovery on his buttons. You know, it takes him a long time to kind of go back to a normal state compared to a lot of characters. And against someone like Johnny Cage, the fireball whiffs, he dies. He whiffs standing 3-4, he dies. He whiffs any of his mids, he's gonna die. Because Johnny Cage is one of the best whiff punishing characters in this game. So if Dangus presses and it doesn't connect, or even on block, right? Like Johnny is gonna, that forward 3 is like the one size fits all button. Back 3 as well, you know, to kind of catch those preemptive dash up pokes that Dangus will have to stop doing. Forward 3 to punish on reaction, whether it's with punishing or on block. It's the back 3, the
dash.
forward 3. Those are the 2 buttons he wants.
Man, the movement from Dangus has been thoroughly impressive. He just gets to glide across the screen on small things like a projectile amplify knockdown. He's point blank even when he's far away. He tries to wake up buttons, looking for more. But Flet, he is a very respectful player. That's I think actually the first time all series he's majorly whiffed that back 3 string. But now, that is the weakness. Standing 3-4, it's an amazing button for range and confirmability and stuff, but oh my lord, with punishment, yeah, that's a rough string to miss. Oh, he's cheeky.
Yeah, Flet tried something a little bit unorthodox there, poking the camera. He's got fatal blows, so he can kill. Oh, he's dead with punish. Yeah, I like it. No, that was the exact thing to do. Save the fatal blow, spend the crushing blow. Keep the fatal blow for the next round. And that crushing blow used to secure the whiff punish. Flet now on the verge of a 3-0 over Dangus.
Round 2. Fight.
Here we go for even more. The push forward. Looking for the grab. The
I
throw
wonder if that
escape.
was a forward throw.
I wonder if it was a reverse throw. Flet thinking super
If
far.
it was and Flet teched it, he's a certified mad lad.
He's answering back, Dangus. For one of the first times, really significantly up on life. That's a whip punish. No,
no,
whip
it
punish! Oh, God. Dangus, I don't know what happened there. Just a lapse in execution, maybe, but hopefully he doesn't.
I mean, this is
Punished
still
too
Johnny
heavily.
Cage. The comeback factor with Fatal Blow is through the roof, so it's not over. Uh-oh.
Especially now.
Especially now. The good blocks. Dangus is being careful. Oh! That's dangerous. And Flet jumps himself into the corner. Interesting. Oh, never mind. See the deal.
And this is where we're at. Fatal blows back. Flet. Oh, he gets clipped for the 4. That'll be
Good
enough.
hit.
Still match point for Flet. Don't forget, he wins this round. He moves on to fight Blood Eyes in a rematch, in fact. Back to this solid range. And it's like I said, it is keeping Spawn just enough outside of the range that he wants to live at for the buttons, right? And it is. He's got that magical invisible 3-4 in his head, I think. But he gets clipped by it. The break, probably the only break where he's going to have left.
Whoa.
Wow, he just swings the uppercut. But Dangus,
I know
he is
Flet
not
does that a
interested.
lot in this game. Flet actually does a lot of like preemptive uppercuts looking for the crushing blows. He's not committing either. He doesn't get whip punished himself. He has to watch out. Flet will die if he gets touched now.
And that one projectile's put him into fatal blow territory.
Oh, he's dead. Oh! Never mind. Dangus missed the punish. But won't matter. He still has the lead. Dash up grab gets tagged. Flet. Oh, hang on a minute. No. That fireball. Oh, double hitting sweep. Catching him out.
No punish! He almost gets it, but he's just frames too slow. He's going to go all the way in. He has to be so careful. Dangus will punish and lets it go. That will be a game for him and a chance to bring himself back into this set, Mustard. Yeah, there's so nearly a
Tense
3-0.
situation to be in, though, if you are Dangus here. Like, to be down match point 2 games and match point as well, like, it doesn't get harder than that in terms of, like, bringing back a set. But he manages to get the first game on the board, so we've officially started what could be a reverse 3-0, but it's going to be difficult. Dangus, this matchup, he's working well for him. I feel like he's being a little bit less, kind of, what's the word? A little bit less happy with these buttons. You know, I feel like in the first couple of games, it was a lot of sticking these out. If it hits or block, you know, on hit, charge, on block, fireball. But the more we went through round to round, Flet was just showing more and more that he wasn't going to let Dangus get away with it. And in that last game, I feel like we rarely saw Dangus pressing anything in neutral unless it was in response. You know, in response to a jump, in response to movement that he was trying to check. But now, 2-1. If Dangus can make this work, we'll go to another game 5, which would be kind of fitting with how today has gone.
This has been such an unpredictable day across the board, though, hasn't it? Just
Yeah,
from
it's
the use of characters,
Kind of weird,
wake
but
up.
not in a bad way.
Oh yeah, the best kind of weird. Now, grabs, Dangus, maybe a newfound confidence here. A little bit of life to work with. And Flet, I mean, being sent a message that he...
Oh my goodness.
That's a full combo. Did we end it? No, Dangus just wants damage now. Just wants damage. Oh no! I mean, yeah, he can't really get anything from that. He didn't have the time to go in.
That was just Flet thinking on his feet, I think. He's like, oh, what am I going to do with this? He turned it into the advantage of the forward 2. Oh, that duck and whiff punish. Hang on. Fatal blow. Advantage. Angus can't get clipped here. Yeah, take the throw.
Oh! Oh, he didn't believe
it was over.
He did not believe that down one was going to hit at all. Not prepared.
Oh,
and
no.
the switch! The grab, Dangus. Just thinking, man, if only I just believed in that down one a little bit more. Forward dashed rather than back dash, things would be different, but that will still be match point for Flet.
Yeah,
there's the
want you to
break.
get rid of that breaker. Now you got corner pressure with no breakaway. It's a showstopper corner damage. Oh, never mind. No, it isn't. Angus, even with the breakaway, we get pushed back to mid-screen. There's a whiff on it again.
Keeping the damage simple. Doesn't want to go for the double float. Sorry. Some players They go for those high damage,
right?
but
Make sure you don't drop it, get the restand, keep the lead. However, the lead is now officially barely there, like by 1 or 2% tops. It's enough. However, both players being in Fatal Blow has me nervous. It's flat, still has shades. Tries to go for the cancel, doesn't get anything. Angus is playing it safe. Oh, the dash
Wow!
Another tech!
And that tech came out because Flet was in the middle of a poke, and he kind of got the tech right as the button came out, so it just so happened to be the right direction. Now it still is match point for Flet. However, oh no, he can't break. And it doesn't matter because he can't confirm, no extra meter. So he has to just leave that for what it is.
Run style. He is like zipping in and out. In, do a button, out. In, do a button, out. Non-stop, Dangus. This life lead being played with so perfectly. Dash up, down one again. He's just making sure he doesn't commit as much. However, the counter hit. Trying to move on block. Can't do that. Rolls to safety, however. Oh, but a big whiff, but doesn't get whiff punished.
Speaking of whiff punish,
Flat
only just, again, 2 times in a row!
Oh no! Oh no, he's not dead, but he's going to be in a one reset situation here. Restand into what? Have to block, can't block it, the throw will kill 2! No! Not quite, 1% in it.
Oh,
no!
Oh, and he gets the brutality. I haven't seen that brutality before. He just takes a picture and your face melts off.
Johnny Cage wins.
That's sudden, actually.
Special Forces cameras, my dudes.
Secret
Well,
technology.
that was absolutely a scary one by the end of that. I did not know what to expect. I feel like it whenever you're against like spawn and you have like less than half life, you kind of feel like no matter what the deficit is, it's like you might be in danger. But that was the real hit there. That confirmed Flet. And I will say as well, you know, really kind of undoing some of that earlier damage he unfortunately suffered in some of the matches where, especially his first game against B-Boy, right, where Flet was making a tremendous amount of execution errors. But they weren't like execution errors like in the clutch. It was like very basic things that you absolutely would not expect a player of his caliber to drop. However, the longer we've gone on today, his execution has thoroughly gone back to the way we recognize it. You know, this is the Flet we know, this is the clutchness, this is the execution, and Flet is going to be advancing over Dangus today in the losers finals, where he will get the run back against Blood Eyes, which is a run back I'm sure he definitely would want, as he did lose this convincingly 3-0. But before we move on, I want to say huge shout outs to Dangus. Really happy to see him playing today. It's been a long time since I've seen Dangus play, and you know, on behalf of a lot of us that enjoyed watching his spawn today, I do hope this is not the last we see of you, my friend. Thank you so much for playing. But now we do move on into our losers bracket final. Who will get the match against Nivek? Is it going to be Blood Eyes, who was able to win against Flet 3-0, or is Flet going to get the run back? And I feel like I have to kind of become the broken record that I often become on the Open Series, where we've seen this matchup before today, but how many times have we seen this, where a player will have a match in winner's bracket, they'll lose it in convincing fashion, they'll get the run back in that same tournament, and then they end up completely changing things around. You know, we've seen it so many times, and I imagine we'll continue to see it. Do you think now is one of those times?
It could definitely be. You know, Flet, so often when a player is in the losers bracket in this fashion, especially how Flet actually managed to make his way into the losers finals, that players can get given that mid-tournament newly found confidence that they just didn't have in the winners bracket. Sometimes losers bracket kind of just creates this exaggerated stress situation, which a lot of players in this level can rise to. And it's going to be hard, though, purely because of how Blood Eyes was able to beat him in winners. And not only that, but the matchups and the characters and everything else. It's stuff that I really think that Blood Eyes is going into this fully prepared and probably quite motivated to try and get revenge on Nivek, who is currently sitting pretty in the grand finals winners side, so he has the ultimate comfort zone. But from this position, Flet fought against a lot of upgraded in the past. Blood Eyes did quite well against Nivek, but no cigar. Looks like Blood Eyes is now in the lobby, so Flet
it was a game 5,
and we'll be starting off.
Like Blood Eyes versus Nivek was still a game 5, and that we cannot forget about. You know, it was definitely, it was good. It was a good win for Nivek. The last game was definitely pretty dominant, but it was still a game 5 set, which fundamentally I think that could be another example of the continuation that we see when like some players will kind of just, it's almost like they're just continuing the same match they've just had, where, you know, maybe they tried characters that didn't work out, that now in the run back definitely ain't going to use. Maybe there are other characters they were considering using that they didn't. Now they get the run back, it's like, okay, now I'm going to try it out, you know what I mean? Like, but I wonder if this is going to be one of those instances for Flet, because I genuinely feel like the Johnny Cage Frost matchup, it might sound like a hot take, but I kind of feel like Frost might win that. I genuinely think that Frost has always done very well against Johnny Cage, and I don't see why that'd be any different now. You know, I really feel like that's a good matchup for Frost, especially Arctic Anarchy. You know, Arctic Anarchy just plays the best at that optimal Frost range, which coincidentally is the range that Johnny wants to play as well, but he's not. Like, as a character, Johnny doesn't usually have to care about other characters kind of contesting him at that range. Normally he kind of gets free reign into kind of like longer buttons than most, you know, kind of faster forward movement with those buttons, but I don't think he gets to do the same thing against her.
Looks like as soon as Flet is un-AFK'd, which he has done, immediately ask and you shall receive. So here comes our losers finals. Winner of this moves on to grand finals to fight Nivek, whether it's going to be Flet versus Nivek or Blood Eyes getting the run back. Don't want to use the term revenge, because revenge will mean he has to win the tournament, and that, I mean, is ways away. So, matchup wise, back into the Frost.
Nivek sitting in grand finals. It's going to be tough.
We do. I know. I do see a lot of players sometimes, you know, in chats and stuff like that. They don't like, you know, watching the upgraded with Nivek or whatever the case may be. But I think a lot of people forget he's a world finalist. Nivek is a world finalist for a good reason as well. I think people often forget that rather important little fact right there. However, as we go into losers finals,
the whippersnappers out there, they have to remember who Nivek is. If they haven't seen his like glory days, yeah, I have to remind you. Oh, hang on, Blood Eyes. What is this shin Blood Eyes?
alternate costume. It's time to get serious. But another ranged heavy matchup, really. But not ranged for the entirety of the match. It is very much a jump distance match, I think. Cage having range of his own, Frost absolutely. And then it's whoever has that life lead and the projectiles become more prominent. Blood Eyes and his absolute display of the ranged footsies in this matchup was so good in Winners.
Oh, anti-air. Now that's what you're looking for. Oh, tries to pick it up.
The awareness.
I absolutely love the way that Blood Eyes is playing this neutral. He's just so good at staying at that optimal range. Now Flair has learned to outtake right again here. Not normally the variation we're used to seeing from him, but one I think you really need. Showstopper not really bringing the same kind of benefits to the party.
And the arcing projectiles, it means that Frost can't set full screen, like right there. You know, they wouldn't have low profiled as such, but it is the existence of the arc.
Fireballs have a bit better recovery, but you also get to do like fireballs on blocks don't work in this matchup anyway because they don't hit.
Oh no! Oh, he stood up into it.
Oh, tragic.
That sucks.
Round 2.
You could tell Flet was convinced he was over it as well. Like, that was a really late stand-up, but that projectile, very active and rather slow for what it is.
However, an immediate turnaround in this round as Cage has the corner pressure over half-life already gone. And
take corner damage, not to be underestimated.
Yeah. Absolutely. Gets the jump in. Oh, knocks over. Probably not quite prepared for that. There's the interruption on the drill. And the counter poke. Clean round there for Flet. That's round 2. Goes to Johnny Cage.
Final round. Fight.
Oh, big jump in. Against Flet no bar, so just taking the damage where he can.
Here we go again. Even more of it. The grab back to full screen, a range that Frost is more than comfortable in. Air to air, down 2 just in case he breaks. I mean, damage is good damage. We're punished. Yeah, correct.
Now, I will say that's been a big thing that Flet's doing here. He's not really letting Blood Eyes get away with as many down forwards. Right? We're seeing a lot of these jump-ins are done specifically as a read for either the down 4 or the back 2. Oh, counter hit. Blood Eyes can't avoid anything, but there's no bar at least. Oh, Blood Eyes does have that fatal blow, so it's by no means over.
Oh, no! Punish! What a duck. Expecting
Frost.
it.
Ooh. Weird end there, but an end nonetheless. That Frost forward 2, that advancing lunge, it's so tempting so often because it goes so far and it is safe on block, but it is a high. Damn, he's got a hole in his lip on my screen. On the spectator screen, it's on his face. That's gross. Still though, Flet, he lost this matchup in a relatively convincing 3-0 fashion, so for him to take the first game and lose his finals, I think that could speak a lot for the adaptation we're seeing from him, right? We're seeing him commit a lot less. He's actually challenging Augurs on block, which is not something he would do before. And now whiff punishing. Actually whiff punishing the down 4, which is such almost like a god button for Frost in this matchup. Really being able to do something about it sends that message that no, you do not get to throw this button out for free.
This would be a really nice result for Flet if he's able to actually get himself into Grand Finals, because although we've seen him in Open Series many times, Grand Finals has really kind of tended not to be where he places. He manages to get top 8, and to be fair, top 8 in Open Series is no easy feat, especially now. We're starting to get more and more real top-level players, throwing their hat into the mix, but that kind of seems to be this level of top 4 maybe, and that kind of tends to be where Flet's journey ends. So I would kind of like to see him get a Grand Finals just for the player progression, and especially against someone like Blood Eyes, who has been making an absolute breakout performance this time around.
We have
either way.
seen 2 really important things in this match though. Flet's been doing a lot of those scooping jump punches to kind of like catch out buttons. Now Blood Eyes is going for the down 3 idea, which is not something we've seen him be able to do too much, but definitely something you need to pull out there. But then Flet again with the immediate whiff punish on the down 4. Like that is the kind of constant mind game of adaptation we're looking for. These lows from Flet. Oh, you're not leaving the corner. Flet says no.
I don't think that mortar was intentional. Like back 1 into far mortar. Never seen that before, so surely that was an execution error of some sort. You're the Frost player though, so you tell me.
At this point, I feel like we're very unlikely to see execution errors like that, though. I think it might just be thrown out, because you can do kind of like the close range mortar.
The far one though?
I mean, doing a far one when the far one is definitely not going to hit, it's probably just like you just tap the wrong direction in the heat at the moment.
Yeah, maybe. Anyway, Blood Eye is doing a good job. Decides to let it rock. I've not seen the core. Oh, that flawless block really changed
The
things
thing
up
is, like,
some.
the core is not bad against characters that you can actually keep the full screen against, because the default version of it is the core activate. It doesn't explode, but while the core is turned on, any move she has that uses the core, so like the mortar, the strings that use it, they all do more damage. It's just the amplified version that does, but no confirm. Yeah, no confirm. That could have been death. Oh dear. Fatal blow, but might not matter.
Oh dear.
Oh, haven't seen this one in a while. Damn.
That's so savage. Flet, absolutely on track to getting his revenge so far. But it is a shame, actually, how that ended. The back 1 hit, 2 hits, so you can definitely confirm it, but no fatal blow.
It was the whole string done, so I can only imagine that Blood Eyes just didn't think it was going to hit and was like, look, this is safe on block, I'll throw out the whole thing. Because that's the good thing about
situation before. We've been in that situation. Wait, Spawn? What do you mean Spawn?
Yeah, I was about to correct myself, but I didn't want to interrupt you again.
I thought it too fast. You were trying to be polite, and then I put you on blast when you were about to save
Thanks,
yourself.
bro. Next time I'm just going to interrupt you without hesitation.
But
But that's the good thing about Frost's back 1, though, as a general thing, is it's safe at all points, but when you do the full thing, not only is it safe, it also has a decent amount of pushback. So in that instance, I can only imagine Blood Eye was like, look, I'll do the whole string, he's probably going to block it, and then I'll just look at what's going on next. But it did connect, and that's one of the situations you have to be looking for it. But now Blood Eyes, he is down 2 games to 0. What do? He has been swapping characters. We have seen only the Spawn today, but I'm sure he has other things up his sleeve too. But
I will sit and wait. I like that Scorpion custom, actually, how the mask is the same shade of yellow. Now, Blood Eyes, he actually did hover over Noob Saibot for a split second earlier today. And I wasn't sure if it was he was thinking about picking Noob Saibot, or whether while he's deciding what character he's going to pick, he just so happened to hover over Noob, because, you know, that can happen sometimes. But he likes his range and he likes his buttons, and if you like range and buttons, Seeing Double is another good character to fit that style. So we will see. Oh, dearie me, starting off with a whipped back 2, though. It's going to be a pretty bad start as Cage.
Here's the weird thing, though. Like, Flet's gone to outtake, but I actually feel like we're not really seeing outtake be the reason this matchup is going well. We're not really seeing Rising Star used outside of combo enders. We're not really seeing the Force moves make a huge difference. I feel like this is mainly just Flet figuring out things on the fly and being more comfortable.
And the projectile helps. You know, that's the biggest thing about
it's
the
nice to have it,
outtake.
but I feel like it's not making the biggest difference in the world. But
He's
it's one of
very
those
rarely
things that,
at
like, just
projectile
the
range.
presence of it is enough to make a difference, you know. Just because we're not seeing it doesn't mean its existence isn't preventing Blood Eyes from going to certain options. No punish, unfortunately, though. That could be huge damage.
Very much so. Now, with this health, all it takes is one lone 1-1-3 or something similar with that fatal blow. Noob Saibot can definitely still take this life bar away. Counter pokes down 4, Ghost Ball, always neutral duck. An unblockable, but it's a high. It's all about just making sure you neutral duck that button, and he gets tagged. Looks like it's going to be match point for Flet on swift pace to get his revenge at this rate. Blood Eyes.
Use the fatal blow cancel.
Days. I'm not sure. A lot of buttons that are just whiffing. You know, Seeing Double, a lot of those buttons will be slide. You're looking for the extra element of safety and pushback that Seeing Double brings, but the one thing Seeing Double doesn't have is absolute fullest of full screen coverage, which actually means that it will be Flet at max distance with the advantage, and outtake will help him because you can't low profile as much. Full combo. Here comes Flet, hungry for revenge. So close he can taste it.
I mean, he's on the verge of not only winning the run back, but winning the run back in 3-0 fashion, which is how he lost it in the first place. Okay, reversal grab, escape failed. Hang on, this isn't over.
Noob Saibot, crushing blow throw on both directions. And now he's got that corner pressure. Boom, 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 tackle. But it's not going to KB because he hasn't hit 10 clones. He hasn't come close to hitting 10 clones, actually.
Oh, dear! Oh, it is Flet. Manages to find it and secures the run back. You know, I call myself a broken record. I say it all the time. The run back very rarely goes the way we see in winners. And the reason I say it so many times is because it keeps happening. Every single week this happens, I swear. They'll play in winners, they'll get the run back in losers, and it's completely different. This happens all the time, and I don't get it. But I'm happy
I
to
get
see
it. Adaptation, my friend. Adaptation. Now, Flet, he'll feel good about that. Getting grand finals is always good for Flet. He's been a super strong Russian player for many, many, many years now. But, I mean, we're talking about that matchup. He was really kind of letting Blood Eyes get away with a lot less. This change to Noob Saibot, I kind of feel like it was Frost just isn't working and he was just going for something, I don't want to use the term unorthodox because it certainly wasn't an unusual pick. It was just something that maybe we weren't expecting, right? But it almost seemed gameplay-wise that maybe even Blood Eyes was kind of half committed to it, because even in that first round, he's kind of just swinging buttons all over the place. I know that Seeing Double gets to do, like, you know, down 4 into slide and stuff like that, but a lot of buttons were just missing and whiffing and getting punished all over the place, where it kind of seemed like he wasn't fully, like, in the Noob Saibot mode, if that makes any sense. Like, there's still elements of Frost
He's
there.
played a lot of games in this tournament, and this was the first time we've seen him pick it. So, you know, maybe it just took a little bit longer to kind of adjust than it does. Not every player is as fast at kind of adjusting to new characters on the fly as they pick them in a set. But regardless, you know, even though we are going to see Blood Eyes fall here, again, you know, much like we said with Dangus, GG's, you know, really, Blood Eyes had an impressive run today. You know, we saw him take out Mirko, we saw him take out Flet 3-0 in winners, we saw him take Nevek down to a Game 5, you know, final combat finalist Nevek, and then even though he lost the run back in losers finals, you know, to have that kind of run in the tournament today, 3rd place, you know, you're going to win yourself a little bit of cash, so definitely not a wasted effort in any way, and I do hope we see more of Blood Eyes in the future. And much like we said for Dangus, you know, it's the same kind of thing. I'm happy to see them both play, and I'm happy to see them both do well and get top 4. But, as is always the case, we have a grand finals locked and ready to go. Nevek of Greece and Flet from Russia. Nevek with that winner's side grand finals advantage. Nevek, we haven't seen him play in the top 8 in so long. And here he is. You know, this is the best safety net you can have. He's been dominating today, doing really well. And now we're going to see if he can win his, actually, to be honest, quite surprising, first Open Series Weekly. It does mean we're guaranteed a new champion today. Neither Nivek or Follett have been able to win a Open Series Invitational yet, which, again, I find quite crazy, you know, considering how successful both players have been kind of over time and, you know, the accolades that they've definitely been capable of doing. We just haven't really seen it as much in the Open Series, I suppose. But we are going to get into this Grand Finals after a short break. We're going to go set up this lobby, and then we will finish Europe for the week. But, you know, this is but the first half of the day. North America will follow later.
Oh, yeah.
But we'll talk more about that soon, because now we're going to go to a break and set up Grand Finals.
This is the Mortal Kombat character breakdown, Kotal Khan. This Oshtek warrior brings brute force to the world of competitive Mortal Kombat, where he hits hard, takes a beating, and provides different playstyles across all 3 variations. Before we even start with his variations though, Kotal Khan is one of the few characters that sports more base health than everyone else. This makes you generally tankier and able to soak up more hits as you close in space, which is always your #1 goal with this character. His most popular variation is Variation 1, Ascension. It brings the Khan cut forward, which is a full combo launcher. Amazing for using after strings and giving a combo off almost every single touch, which works wonders when you combine it with his long-ranged buttons. Ascension also boasts a command grab that majorly expands your mix-up game, which in this variation is Strike versus Throw. Totemic makes things a bit more wild, as Kotal gains access to a ground charge and an air charge. These can be amplified to be safer on block, and is useful to use after strings for this reason. He gains 1 totem in this variation, the Blood Totem, which allows Kotal to heal a portion of the damage that he deals while it's activated. Combine this with your base Sun Ray, and you can sustain more damage than most. Finally, Bullock expands the totem game significantly. A damage reduction totem that, as you might expect, makes you one hell of a brick wall if you activate them, and a damage totem that does exactly what it sounds like. These totems can be stacked to strengthen their effects, and Bullock in the right hands can be a source of devastating damage, or to become the immovable object. Kotal is a real brawler in this game, and is a perfect fit for those that like to get up close and personal with an intimidating offensive game.
PlayStation.
This is the Mortal Kombat character breakdown for Cabal. MK's fastest combatant and a reliable pick for any player looking to win games with strong neutral and footsies. Cabal is very well equipped fundamentally. He has buttons for days, with mids good for any range you find yourself at, and is built around them. Cabal excels between jump and sweep distance, with a strong diagonal air projectile that works in tandem with his grounded buttons. Not only that, but he has one of the strongest armor breakers in the game in Hook Slam and Nomad Dash for a meterless stun. The variations are about which of these tools excel more and how much they add to his fundamental game plan. Main Streak is a variation that will be familiar to fans of Mortal Kombat 9, as it allows him to spend defensive bar to cancel his Nomad Dash, allowing for dangerous frame traps and hit confirms for those with the execution to handle them. This also turns the diagonal air saw into a horizontal saw, allowing for easier air confirms, and grounded saw for a strong low projectile. Clean cut adds the low hook, which can be dangerous when used at a point where Cabal would normally do an overhead, such as his back 1-2, forward 2-2-4, or forward 4-1+3. This move is unsafe, however, and as Cabal is normally a very safe character, this can be quite the style change. Clean Cut also gets extended hook for a restand that you can use anywhere, eliminating your opponent's wake-up options entirely. The Spins is the most popular variation, and for good reason. Spinning and Air Hook are combo pop-up tools that add a chunk of damage to any standard Cabal combo, which helps his conversions and overall combo damage. Gas Cloud is also a restand that works best in the corner, but can also be amplified to make anything safe on block with pushback, or amplified in neutral to create a cloud that heals you, amongst other benefits. Cabal is an absolute monster on the ground. When played at the right range, he can delete opponents with quick punishes and superior footsies. He has a strong button for any situation and numerous crushing blows that can help him in a pinch, along with one of the scariest fatal blows in the game due to its constant presence. In the hands of a player with strong fundamentals, Cabal can be a serious force to be reckoned with.
PlayStation.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the PS4 Tournaments MK11 Open Series Invitational. Week 1 of November has gone swimmingly gameplay-wise, and our grand finals are just about to begin.
Indeed, it's going to be Nivek versus Flet in a showdown of Greece versus Russia. And it feels fitting that we're going into November with the Europe versus Russia kind of eternal back and forth, where all the way back to the start of the day, as we look at the tail of the tape, we can remember that going into today, we had 13 total winners across European Open Series events. The top 4 winners, being Arn Kratos winning the most, followed by Asodamata, Mirko, Dat Pro Stunner. So you're looking at that kind of blend of Russia and Europe, UK, all the in-between. And today, as Nivek has had a very strong time through the winners bracket with this upgraded Jackie and Flet. Less so with the Johnny Cage, but the important thing about Flet was sent to losers 3-0 by Blood Eyes, and then just won the run back against Blood Eyes 3-0 to get here in the grand finals. I feel like this is the perfect way we could have started for November. The eternal rivalry of Europe versus Russia in these Open Series events continues to be here and is starting November off. I am happy to see it because it always means we have GGs, and what better players to do it today than Nivek and Flet.
2 players that have been gunning for their victory here for quite some time, and 2 players that have been around for many years in competitive NetherRealm. But Nivek, a player that's been playing Upgraded for a fair while. He's made the transition over to Upgraded almost entirely. I know he sort of dabbled a little bit in Fujin, but
let's
Upgraded
talk a little
been.
bit about Nivek's character choice though, because I remember at launch he actually played Cabal. It was mainly a Cabal player with a side of like first round Jackie. But then when Variation 3s came out, he started playing, Variation 3 of both Cabal and Jackie. And that was when his success was the most kind of like up and down, I would say. And then he got to the point that I actually talked to him about this, when he came down to the UK for our, kind of like final combat, grinding bootcamp session, I suppose. And I said to him about it, asked about his character choice, and he basically said, I wanted to play them both because I thought they were necessary. Until I put a lot of time into Upgraded and realized I'm not going to need another character if I'm playing Upgraded. So from that point on, he played only Upgraded, and then his success just skyrocketed. Because he was focusing all of his time into this one character, and it ended up being one of the best characters in the game. It was the perfect hand-in-hand relationship.
So here we go, grand finals, and again a quick memory refresh, the double elimination format. Nivek, if he wins this 3 out of 5, that's it, the tournament's done. If Flet wins this 3 out of 5, he'll reset the bracket. We'll go over again. Another 3 out of 5 will take place, but he has to reach that point first. Doesn't quite manage to get the up 2 punish, but here comes Nivek with the rush down all the way through. And the short hop game is a dangerous one. He just held down for like 3 seconds. And the grab was able to be ducked, as you might expect, holding it for that long. Nivek so close. Oh! Oh! This is weird. Now Outtake does have options to fight Upgraded. The arcing force balls help out a lot. The Rising Star can also be quite the answer. No wonder Flet has picked Outtake for the Jackie matchup.
You can see Nivek really just trying to chip down here. Doesn't want to overcommit too much. Trying to play it safe. Like Ketchup just said, this is Johnny Cage. One fatal blow cancel with this life actually is going to kill.
Bam!
Actually, no. Actually, in this variation, maybe not.
Yeah,
because you still...
Outtake.
Yeah, no, it's like you get to cancel, but you don't get to add as much damage. Like, you still get a decent chunk, but not quite as much as usual. But still, University, that fatal blow cancel, very scary. Oh, unfortunate breakaway for Flet. That is the worst kind of breakaway into the crushing blow. Uh-oh.
Oh dear.
Oh, there's the hit. Again, Nivek. capitalizing, and his own unfortunate breakaway. Oh no!
Never mind. Bam, bam, bam. And we just finished the job. Oh, the final hit misses. It did. But you know what? Doesn't matter. Because Nivek just gets to do it all again. He's just looking to loop. And believe it or not, one game is already done. We could be 2 games and the grand finals would be finished. Imagine that.
It definitely would be. As a biased Nivek fan, it would be nice to see Nivek win. But, you know, Flet has definitely been able to kind of bring this one back through today. You know, winning that run back in dominant fashion. Himself being a player that we know is capable of really good things, just hasn't quite been able to, you know, consistently achieve them. But he's always up there, right? And that's the thing. When we say that about these kind of players, it's not that they are, like, disappointing results-wise. It's that you tend to hold them to a very high standard because you know that's what they have been able to do and can continue to do. So when a player like Nivek is like Intercontinental Combat champion, best player internationally to win that, right? He then qualifies for Final Combat, right? A world finalist player. To go from top 16 in the world at the World Championships to, you know, anything less than kind of like consistent winning is going to be a downgrade. You know, and that's not because you're just washed up or you're just not good at the game. It's your usual standard is so high, it is like incredibly difficult to maintain it.
As we now start things off, Flet is caught instantly. And that's another full combo here for Jackie, just doing what she does best. Overwhelming offense. There hasn't even been that much emphasis on grab so far. You know, that layer hasn't needed to be introduced. I've said what makes Upgraded so insanely strong. It is the layers of offense. A lot of characters in this game do not have the offensive options that she does.
There it is.
Where truly, you try and out in the air, she'll catch you. She can grab. Oh, ultra whiff. Flet does press a button, but Nivek getting caught right in the middle of it. And at this point, more of the patience. Nivek's trying to get some kind of button press out of Flet. The fake out. Again, he's just trying to bait out something. He really wants Flet to press a button. Oh, no. That will be around, surely. Flet. He's going to build the breaker, but there's no reason to break. Uses the up 2. I don't disagree with using the up 2 there, though, because even if he loses the round here, which he might not, actually, Fatal Blow's ready. Whiff. Oh. And that's just a little down 1. Easy finish, but Flet.
I mean,
the up 2,
thing is, like,
it would have come back. So.
Yeah, Bar comes back surprisingly fast. Where you can do like a wake-up option, like a legitimate up 2, up 3, one of those two. So if you're going to lose the round on it, by the time it takes the in-between round cinematic, most of it's going to be back anyway. But still, Flet does actually have a life lead here.
And it's a life lead he can sit on thanks to the arcing force balls. This is the element that makes outtake. Of all 3 variations, outtake is really good at fighting Upgraded, at least in this respect. Definitely not saying anything outlandish like it's a winning matchup. It's just options are good, especially in a character like Upgraded that has so many that she can take away from you. However, there comes the corner pressure. Again, Nivek getting real good damage. Flet finding an opportunity to squeeze out a down 4. Oh, good thing he didn't commit to that string, because you know, Jackie. Neutral jump 2. Oh, big whip. He has to break. The last break he's going to get in this round, absolutely. What? Tries to grab. Oh, Jackie, when she whiffs.
Oh, no punish, though. Oh, but it won't matter. No! Nivek doesn't drop this. It should be done. He does drop it. Oh, no, never mind. Nivek came dangerously close to dropping that game. But Flet wasn't quite able to capitalize. But that's 2 games in a row now that Flet has been, like, literally, like, pinned to the wall with a serious deficit on life, and he's gone for like a big duck, and it's actually worked out, you know, like he's definitely confident in those decisions, but it's about following through with them, right, and getting as much possibilities damage wise or whatever just to get out of that scenario. So it's 2 for 2. Like, at least the second time Flet got the big duck, but just was not ready to hit Nivek for it, which is easier said than done against Jackie, I know, but you have to press something, right? Anything's better than nothing. But that does mean that Nivek is now 1 game away potentially from winning this entire tournament. Flet, lock it in, Johnny Cage. This is going to be the pick for the rest of the event for him. Well, at least for this first set, at least. But if he can run it back with Johnny, I can't imagine it'd change in the next one.
And let's not pretend something silly like Johnny Cage can't fight this character or something, because we've seen so many top-level players use Outtake against Upgraded, and it has been just fine, you know, because ultimately Johnny Cage does have tools that at least can contest with some of the more oppressive Jackie tools.
I mean, safety, amazing anti-airs, fireballs that cover the right angle, like long-range buttons, a low hitbox, like, you know, he has what it takes.
There's a reason players like VGY, for example, really like playing Outtake versus Upgraded. You know? And this is a matchup, actually, that VGY has actually defeated Nivek in multiple times in tournament, Outtake versus Upgraded. And this was, you know, granted, it was many months ago, thanks to the way the worldwide situation is going, but definitely a character that can fight Upgraded. It's just down to Flet being constantly overwhelmed. Nivek playing an extreme hit and run game.
Flet, I still would mainly consider Flet as a showstopper player, you know what I mean? I feel
I agree.
This is the progress of Flet as a Johnny Cage, is to be able to, you know, have this Outtake ready for the matchups where it's really needed, because we've seen a lot of that today. As a tournament point for Nivek, the Outtake definitely not looking quite as comfortable as a showstopper, but by no means looking bad. Like, Flet's Outtake is definitely, like, one of the stronger that I've seen still playing the character. So a lot of people actually don't really play Johnny Cage nowadays.
Flet is having a real problem dealing with this offense. Just absolutely at every step. Strings are working. With punish. Knows Flet's going to challenge some of the poke. That's the crushing blow, I mean. This has got to be one of our most dominant grand finals that we've ever had. It always tends to be. And the wake-up buttons are working. Nivek is just swinging. That's the ground pound. And I can't believe I'm saying it already, to be honest. The tournament is over. Nivek is going to win his first ever Open Series. Flet getting a very respectable second place, but definitely the pressure of Jackie far too strong today.
And Nivek, you know, really reminding us why he is considered one of the strongest players internationally. You know, like, we don't get to see him as many times as often. And one thing I do want to say as well about Nivek is, you know, one of the reasons for that is he's not predominantly an online player. Like, when the chips are down and competition has to be online, he does play online, but he is a player. He's a bit more old school in the FGC. He much prefers in-person events, right? Like, much more of a traveler. You know, he's one of the most kind of well-traveled NetherRealm players, I would say, in the scene. But, you know, when push comes to shove, we see him play online, right? Whether it was Pro League for MKX back in the day, whether it's like, you know, Path to Pro, anything that it might be, right? If it is what he has to play, and he will, but he doesn't play online as, like, non-stop as a lot of the competitive players that you're kind of used to seeing. So it's nice to see him really put in the hours, get to the grind, play online, and remind us all why he is one of the best players in Europe. You know, and this kind of dominant showing today does a good job of reminding us all that, I think. And GG's and well played, and first Open Series weekly. I'm surprised this is his first this far in, but, you know, I guess it just goes to show
that means
the
that
level of competition that we've seen.
It does mean that we've had 14 separate winners, actually, for Europe and CIS, which has been crazy. And like I said, this is the sixth month for Open Series that we're going into as we start November. If you enjoyed today, this is not where the action ends, because we have to go into our first week of North America, but also we have more weeks where that came from. Check out the schedule here. We have a bunch more weekly invitationals, and then, of course, the monthly finals. And it's Europe and North America every single time.
I want to say as well, by the way, you know, one of those dates on the screen that I'm eyeing up the most is that November 18th. Do you know why?
Yeah, boy.
The day after Ultimate. Yes. The day after MK11 Ultimate comes out. So, I actually, you know, quite embarrassingly to admit, I don't remember what the actual, like, call is going to be on whether, like, the new characters will be eligible, because obviously they're just going to come out, and normally new characters, they do have, like, a grace period where they're banned for, like, a certain amount of time.
Legal, let's
just
go.
To make sure, you know, just to make sure. But at the very least, I think it's fair to assume that we're probably going to be on the new patch.
I mean, I would assume so.
And if that's the case,
you can prevent that.
if that's the case, we will probably be on the new patch.
Oh my god, they heard us. I forgot we had a graphic for this.
Indeed, when Melina, Rain, and John Rambo will be joining the MK11 roster in, 2 weeks today. 2 weeks today, I think. Yeah, hang on, check. It is 2 weeks today, my friends. The wait is almost over. There is not much time left to wait at all, and we cannot wait to see it, and we hope that you can't wait either. But luckily, if you do like what you're watching today, there's not long left to wait, because nice action figure, bro. That looks really good. Did you paint that yourself?
Funny you should ask. Yes, I did.
Yeah, I know. If only. But you don't have long left to wait, because North America of today is going to be live in just under an hour and a half. So in just under 90 minutes time, we will be right back at you with some North American Open Series to start November. Europe was definitely an exciting one. I am so grateful that you all joined us and tuned in, and we hope you will join us again soon when North America starts. We're going to go take a break now while we wait for that to happen, so we'll see you guys in just under 90 minutes time when North America will start for the first week of November in the PS4 MK11 Open Series. We will see you very soon.